all of our meetings, and those are posted. Chimo actually posts those so that you can watch it later. If you're not available to do the live call, at least you can watch it later. And on Saturday, Dave the Gardener is starting more of a collaborative style group. So my Friday call is more of a presentation. And then at the end, we do kind of a casual question and answer session. And then Dave's is more of a collaboration group meeting on Saturdays. So, and that just started. I think his first one was just this last, it was Sunday, excuse me. It's every Sunday. So, and more groups, I would imagine, will be developing soon.
Yeah, I'm okay. How about you?
Working.
Okay.
Oh, I like this HRV.
Who's the admin of this group?
We need to mute that person.
That's a
Thank you. All right. So, okay, what time is it? Maybe we can wait a few more minutes. So before we start, if there is any new people, any new member to the community that they want to introduce themselves, say hi, tell us how we can help, would be great. So feel free to turn on your camera when you're in this room, and you can raise your hand when you want to talk. Yes, perfect. Joseph, go ahead.
Well, right now I'm struggling to decide which provider to go with. Maybe GPT or Anthropic, or even with sticking with Hermes, because of the tying out of, I can't use Anthropic through their monthly plan while I'm using Hermes. So I've always have to have my work separated between these two, which is quite annoying. So I'm thinking maybe just going with GPT, unless anyone can offer any good reasons not to.
I mean, if you watch my videos, you know what I think about Anthropic. So they are cutting themselves out, or they are cutting you out. So you can read in the both directions. So they're not friendly. Clearly, they make the service really expensive, and they're against the open source. So that's why you find difficulties to use it on different platforms. But then it's up to you. So I would avoid personally Anthropic. It's expensive for no reason. OpenAI at the moment is having those incredible cheap deals because they are paying for your tokens. So for every dollars you pay, they pay $1.60 on top. So that's why it's so cheap.
But it's also not going to last. At some point, but for now it's good.
Yeah. For now it's good. So I would leverage it just because there is this opportunity. In reality, how I work, I work in a mixed way, in a hybrid way, so local plus those clouds. But you can do even everything on the cloud, but with different kind of a subscription. So it depends how much token do you need. But if you need a lot of tokens, you can have multiple small subscription. Or what I would do personally, I would do the $20 from OpenAI because it's so cheap, and you get access to these super powerful models. And then something that you use on a daily basis, like GLM 5.2, which is an amazing model for almost anything.
Okay, thanks. I'll look into it.
This is my opinion, but doesn't mean that it's right, because Chris is gonna tell us the right option here. Chris, go ahead.
So basically, we will have an overview of the subscription options, because we do consider subscriptions to be very much a part of the AI stack. So including local and a subscription at a different level for different needs. So we're going to discuss different options. There is a lot more options. Of course, it's going to be a very individual thing when it comes to making a choice. So you need to really make the choice according to your needs. There is no one solution that works for everyone. So if you don't have local, it's a totally different ball game. If you have local, it's a totally different thing. So on Wednesday, 1 hour before the daily meeting, AI Stack, and we will discuss those options this Wednesday.
Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. So as shared inside the chat, these call are recorded. So if you participate, you know that it's going to be recorded and shared on YouTube. So welcome everybody. Are you Chimo recording already? I guess you are, right? Yes. Uh, so let's pretend that it started here. So welcome everybody, and today we're going to talk about ResonantOS in the first hour, and then ResonantDAO in the second hour. The second hour is going to be dedicated to why we need the transparency in a DAO. I'm gonna present a few things, and then we discuss together. In this first hour, we're gonna talk about ResonantOS, which is the software that we co-build together, we design together. There's a tech team dedicated, everybody can participate, everybody can install this uh, alpha version of ResonantOS. I'm gonna ask Tom to take the stage and update us.
Okay, very good. Joining on the other place too. So thanks. Let me share my screen here in just a moment, and I'll step through where we are on the development. And
Yes. So, Tom, if we can have, and I know that is for people that are not new, it's kind of boring and heavy, but even a couple of minutes explain what ResonantOS is and show it, really,
yeah,
really in two
absolutely.
minutes. So then it's easier for the people that are new to understand what you are talking about, because otherwise they don't know what is the product itself. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, launching Zoom here, and I'll show it. So ResonantOS is an agent harness that we've developed, and we built the harness in a couple of different architectures. Now the final iteration is in the Google Chrome extension, and that has been updated and worked on for a while now. And so that implementation has a sidecar and a main space application. And I'm about to show you guys here what it looks like in case you haven't seen it. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
We can see it now.
Okay, very good. So again, we've gone through a couple of iterations. We started out with ResonantOS as a Tari shell, and we've also had it in Electron. We've also had it as an HTML browser service. This iteration, as you see here, there's a Chrome extension, and this Chrome extension is right now set up as an unpacked extension, meaning it's not in the Chrome Web Store yet. We're working towards that, but now it's in here as an unpacked extension, and the details of how to get that loaded, I can walk through that at some point, but basically you get it loaded into your browser, and then you'll have your agent sidecar augmenter here. And as you can see here, I've been doing things. Typically I test just to show you what it looks like. I'll have it go to a page like this and tell it to control the screen, tell it to go and do search and do work for me. And then when when I'm ready to do some additional deeper work, I have a couple of the agents living inside of ResonantOS Hermes, which is standard Hermes implementation. And let me start this dashboard. If you're familiar with Hermes, again, it's a standard implementation. Boy. Looks like I broke it when I restarted. Sorry. Regardless, you have Hermes, and we also have open code. I'm currently working on a revised update on open code so that when you see open code, it's going to look like your typical open code interface. If you haven't used it before, so a couple of other changes that we've made here. If you were here last week, you saw some crowding here on the sidecar. These are all kind of UI, UX cosmetic changes, but we've made some changes and we've moved some of the elements up here. You know, for instance, the chat, which is synchronized with this chat over here, your permissions, your jobs, and there's some indicators to show you messages coming from Augmenter. Sometimes you have to give it permission to continue, right? Because this is standard agentic control, and you want to control some of that. And go back for a moment. Again, if you read through some of these, you'll see what we built in here are I don't know if you guys can read this. Is this too small to read?
We can zoom from our end.
You can see? Okay. But anyway, some of the cosmetic changes have been to add these tabs to the top. Again, working on open code and
Tom, can I ask a question? That soccer site you keep showing us, that's your own site that you've been working on and building, is that right?
what's that?
That site that you just showed us, the soccer site, the football site, whatever, the FIFA, or is that this is your own site? No, this is FIFA.com. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'm just using that as a test, right? I'll just tell it to go there and click on, you know, just demonstrating the agenda control. That's all.
Okay, but now, like, if you were imagine you were working on your own website. Is this a good surface to like have your own website and like, hey, I want to change this element. I'm working on this thing. Is that a functionality from right here or no?
To have Augmenter do the work?
Or at least, yeah, like, cause remember how we watched that Yoko? I don't know if you saw the Yoko Lab, but it's kind of similar. It's like, because the way my workflow right now is I take a picture of the thing and then I go talk to my Claude about it and it fixes it in the code base and then pushes it as an update. But what I think I see right here is if I've got my own website open and I've got the code base and the context, can I just have a chat with the augmenter here and be like, you know, I don't like how this element sits. Can you move it? Or like this could say this instead of that. Is that something that can happen right here?
Can I reply to this? This is exactly how I designed ResonantOS. So I never wrote anything on ResonantOS. I started talking with my Augmentor, and Augmentor started designing the pages, and slowly changing every single elements. So everything that you see on ResonantOS is done by this live interaction with the Augmentor.
So
ResonantOS.
I guess the answer is yes.
Yes, so
That
the
you
answer
could, okay.
is yes.
Yeah,
So
and it will be even more powerful when we have open code completely built in.
yeah, exactly. So you leverage open code to write the code and manage the project itself. But then you talk with the augmenter that does this work for you.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Justin?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good Maybe not today, but that would be a good thing to show when showing off Resonant OS is like, here's the thing that we're working on. Here's how you can use this sidecar to like natively work on the thing right here. You know, that little cross
Yeah.
of the two working together.
Yeah, so ResonantOS, as any agent that we have, like Hermes and so on, they have browser use and computer use. Okay, so in our case, because it's inside the browser as a sidecar, it's even more powerful because you can actually click on the different parts, see the code in real time, take screenshots, and so on. So it's much
Yeah.
more powerful to have it as a sidecar. But at the end, it can control anything. Melissa.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yeah. Sorry if that was a little bit confusing, but that is the goal and the intent here, and that's what we're building out.
Yeah, and the other really important thing I see, especially for enterprise, is that as you build out your employee information about certain projects, and then let's say you want to move from Perplexity or from Anthropic over to a chat GPT, you can easily transfer that model around and control your costs a lot easier because you're holding on to your own information. It's not like it's housed on, let's say, like a Perplexity or an Anthropic's platform.
Yeah, and I've got a pretty healthy stable of models in here that we can switch back and forth to. And I didn't go through it in detail, but we also have the Living Archive, which this is not quite done yet, but the idea is to have all of your structured, unstructured data in your local repository that your agent's working off of. And that's, as Melissa said, your data. We're not pushing that into a cloud. That's running off of your local context. Any questions on the interface or the application? Any other questions on that for anyone that's new, or just any questions in general?
I was just wondering where the logic came from for the foundation of it, like the code foundation, or
the
for
code
instance, I could stem off of like a Hermes and then build my own into that. Like, did you start from basic or?
So this code base was written by Manolo. Manolo, when did you start it? Over a year ago, right?
No, so ResonantOS started, yeah, probably almost a year ago, but there've been a lot of different versions. When I think it was February, when or around that period, when OpenClaw came out properly, then I started this multi-agent version of it because before was kind of just a chatbot, let's say. Now it became agentic through OpenClaw, and then it started to do a lot of more things. The problem that it wants to solve are several in reality, and one of them is connecting to the DAO. Okay, that's why we end up into a browser, which also is a really good thing to be inside a browser because it's much more powerful, the AI with a browser. So what we see now, a lot of codecs and open code and cloud code, they are adding the browser to their system because the browser is really important. But they are gonna have some challenges because it's not a proper browser what they are adding, even though they are improving more and more. But like something like a extension cannot run, from my understanding, on their browsers. Therefore, there is a limit of what those browsers can do. Instead, in our case, we connect to browsers. Therefore, there is no limit of what those browsers can do, and now our agent can interact deeply with those browsers. And that is the why we end up inside a browser. The other advantage is all those solutions that you find. For example, the closest thing to what we are building could be considered to be Perplexity. with they have their own browser called Comet, and for some elements is really similar. But the difference here is that on our system you can select the model that including your local model. So you can have this running for you free forever instead of paying a subscription. Your data is always local, so in your system, so maximum privacy. And those are the elements that you gain. So total control of a browser and computer, if you're allowed to it, transparency and privacy of the system, but plus this Resonant OS has the ability to add add-ons. So we community member can design our add-ons and change how Resonant OS works. Those add-ons include, for example, the memory system, even though comes with already a memory system. The augmentor on the sidebar is an add-on. Also, that one can be customized. We already added two add-ons, which is OpenCode and Hermes, as an example of add-ons, and the memory, like I said. But you can carry on creating custom add-ons for the system, so you can bring your own system within it. Those add-ons can be present inside the add-ons store, like an app store within Resonant OS, which allow the community member to share for free if they want, or a pay or subscription through our token system within Resonant OS. So we can have a sort of a marketplace, or you can keep it private if you don't want to share with anybody.
Yeah.
So that
Anyway,
is the logic behind. The problem is there's a few things that I forgot, like some elements that are not present almost anywhere is the our logician and the shield. So the shield is something that we're gonna also talk later on the Resonant DAO. But the shield is a system that protects the AI from external, I mean, the AI Resonant OS in general from external attack and internal malfunction of the system itself. The goal is to protect their human from any form of attack, internal, external.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um,
Sorry, did I answer your question, Joseph? I don't know if you're talking, you're muted or you're not talking.
Yes, I was muted, my bad. I said yes, thank you for that. And that it was cool.
Thank you. All right, any other question? Otherwise, Tom, go ahead.
okay. So good segue there. As you mentioned, Manolo, people can help contribute. And I put together a couple of documents here. I think I showed this one last week that has kind of a status here, but what I wanted to focus on here is a roadmap, what we're working on. In simple terms, if you're interested in helping on GitHub, I'll show you where the repo is. So inside of the ResonantOS GitHub, there are a few sites, the ResonantOS website, Augmentism, the Hub, VS Code, and also the actual 2.0 alpha. This is the code that we're currently working on. And as I was saying, if you want to contribute, you can come here, point your agents to the agents.md, right? And this is going to give your agent some explicit instructions on how to operate with the repository, building and validating, talks about our boundaries, the reading order. Just start reading through these yourself and also have your agent read it. This walks through the GitHub rules, and I'm kind of skimming through this because I don't want to read all these to you guys, but if you look at these, if you have any questions, you can let me know. But essentially you claim an issue, start working on it, test it, validate it visually using your agents. This is agent augmented development, so verification is key. And then open a PR, and then the PR can get assimilated back into the code. And let me show you guys a couple of examples of some PRs. I think there's now 6 here. So these are PRs that were put in, some by me, some by others. Let me look at this one here. Dustin, this looks like yours here. Settle a public submit job before classifying the release and page lock. Okay. It's done a good job of following the summary, the root cause, how this was verified. So this structure is all laid out inside of the instructions for building. And if you look at the contributing document, it will explain all of this to you. Right, so it walks through that. In addition to that, if you are interested in building an add-on, we're not quite at that stage where we're pulling add-ons in, but if you're interested in building an add-on, the structure for that is there. The SDK template is built, and if you want to build an add-on, the structure for building it is there. So let me go back to this. Very quickly, I'll skim through this. Key operating rules, make sure that when you, if you're interested in helping, that you're branching, right? You get a branch, push it off to the side, do your code, do your validation, create a PR, which is a pull request, just basically asking us to pull it in and test it and merge it into the main code base. The project that we're working on is currently project 2, and let me increase the size on this one here so we can see a little better. Let me zoom in just a hair. Here's this toolbar. Okay, so kind of redundant, but how to contribute, clone the repository. All your pull requests are going to target the dev branch. Right now, we haven't pushed a main because we're not into beta yet, but we're still in dev. PR titles start with the area, just follow this convention. Every PR has to have a clean summary, issues include clear titles, repo steps, etc. And that's really it. So if I don't want to burn everyone's time on how to do that, but if you're interested in contributing, just let me know. We'll walk through this together, or if you can read it, it's pretty straightforward and easy to follow. Any other question or any questions on contributing or ResonantOS itself? No? Okay. Well, where do we go next, guys? What do you guys want to go for here?
We
Again,
have a demo of you navigating using the card.
okay. So you want to see some navigation inside of this guy. Is that what you're asking for? Seeing the sidecar demonstrated?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so that's really it.
But can you do something more advanced than just because what you did you could have done inside the what's the name
Oh yeah,
uh, you could have just go right to Disney.com and it would go there without
yeah,
the need of AI. Can you do
yeah.
anything advanced controlling the browser? Do some research within the browser. So what did you ask to do?
I told it to go to FIFA and click on news.
So, but what about something more advanced? Like instead of telling exactly what to do, you can ask, for example, go to FIFA, tell me the last, summarize the last three news, and find out the price of I don't know whatever event. I don't know what's this. I'm not an expert in FIFA, but I guess they do some events or something. Find the next event and buy a ticket for it, or something. Something more advanced. Because if everything, the thing that you ask is possible to do. I mean, everything is possible to do by a human, but they are so basic that it's faster to do by a human than by AI. Instead, summarizing, searching, uh, require a little bit more, work.
Yeah, I may have broken something, honestly. Yeah, I may have actually broken something. Let me go back over and see.
And that's always the way. We can
Yeah,
move on. We can move on.
yeah. No, it's okay. Let me see if I can do something else here. Uh,
And what provider are you using?
yeah, I'm sorry.
Who are you using AI wise?
I think this one it's on auto route right now, and it's probably on GLM. Oh, I'm sorry, it's probably on Minimax. Okay, so delegation queued to Hermes. All right, here's a piece of research. So it went to FIFA, got the information, and then it did a summary for me, and it built this artifact here. So here's the summary built by the Hermes agent. So that's an example of a typical research delegation.
And you can navigate to the artifact from here.
Yeah, it's here on my hard drive.
It would be nice if you create a link, you click and open this MD, but uh, those are details. But I see there are some. I see. I don't know. Maybe we need to discuss a few things with the tech team because I understand that now the backend it's incredible, but in reality, it was it was more powerful 2 months ago when I when I gave it to the tech team. It could do more advanced things.
And we have regressed a little bit on the front end. A lot of things have been altered. What you're asking for with the link here, that's on the roadmap to be able to click here and view the artifacts within the main panel window.
Yeah, the problem that we need to look at, okay, is for example, I see the way that you prompt. You really are specific. That means you need to understand exactly what to ask. Like go to a website.com, FIFA.com. Instead, should be just be FIFA. You shouldn't ask to delegate. The augmenter should understand when to delegate and when not to delegate. So the process should be much easier, more at the same time more transparent. The fact that you need to say delegate to Hermes to go to a website and do a research, I open Hermes and ask Hermes to do it, or you know what I mean? It's if we need to create extra steps to achieve a similar goal that we could have done directly, then there is no point. So the point is to instead have this agent that is an orchestrator and is the only agent that knows us really deeply because it's the one that look after the memory and so on, to actually make decision on when to use whatever add-on, whatever systems, instead of us being there to, to be really specific, delegate to Hermes, go to FIFA.com. It's really, really descriptive. To do a summary, and then the summary it's not presented in the chat. So now you have another steps to do to go to that website, sorry, to that document. And that document needs to be clicked, search manually from the user. It's kind of not an augmenter, let's say. And I don't want to be tough to the tech team. Okay, that is not my intention to. I don't know how to do it, but I need to give a feedback. This is my feedback.
No, no, we have very thick skin. Okay, like
Yeah.
I know that my expression of delegate to Hermes is probably not how most people type. I talk to my agents like that all the time. I try to be very explicit. So, but the use case that you're describing, the smoothness of the use case, that's why I'm trying to get these, tabs out of the way and trying to get the visualization piece in. So there are a few missing pieces here. So you're clearly identifying gaps. And please just keep throwing them at us. You're not hurting anyone's feelings. Just throw it at us.
All right. So I'm gonna carry on. I'm gonna carry on because it is a user experience. Okay. So that is where we need to improve a lot. For example, you see
Yeah.
that there is the system output. Okay, the system output could be within, for example, a frame that I can read a little bit and then I can expand if I want to read it, but I don't want to see the entire system output. I want to see that there is a system output. I can click and see for transparency, I can read, but most people don't want to read the system output. What they want to read is actual, in this case, it's not a file, it's a summary right there inside the chat. Then
Yeah.
and can be created because now you have for a summary you have a file. So it's also something that you need to manage within your computer. That might be, a problem or not, but it's something to think about. So there are a few things that can be improved for the experience itself. Another thing that could be done, the chat, when the moment that you ask this thing, the chat could be moved on the sidecar. Okay, so now the chat moves there, and in the main working space, this document get open so I can read it. So that would be another kind of experience that also makes sense. So now you create a document, and then I have it in front of me as a preview.
Yeah, and there's a completely missing element here. The surface that you're talking about, that viewable surface, should be here. And then when we click on anything, image, file, whatever, it will show in here. And I think maybe Vlad was saying something about it. He's worked on the canvas, and I've also worked on the Blackboard. Those are elements that are meeting the need that you just described, Manoa. So thanks for pointing it out.
The artifacts on the left, on the sidebar, would that have the document?
Sorry,
Just
say
under
again,
add-ons.
again, Joseph, which sidebar you're talking about?
Just on the left on the screen, does it say artifacts? Yeah, just underneath add-ons.
Yeah, so in theory, yeah, every artifact that I get created should be possible to find it here. Is it that one?
I think this is it. It's not clickable at this stage, but yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that this is the artifact creation list. And then also, you know, inside of Hermes, you've got the Hermes history. So there's a couple of places this needs to be consolidated a little bit better. Manolo is clearly pointing out some UX stuff that needs to happen, but we're moving in that direction.
So I really think that we need to push on this UX because I totally understand security, maximum, speed, optimization, whatever it is happening in the back end is important. But without a system that works also for the user, it just the two things. I don't know if it's about moving together, but for my perspective, actually the usability of the front end is extremely important because it's how people get involved also with it. Because at the moment, the experience that I feel looking at ResonantOS, okay, it's broken, it's not ready, I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait for it. Cool, sounds good, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna participate. I'm not gonna install it because it doesn't. It might be working, but it feels broken. So I
Yeah,
rather have something that feels amazing, but it's still broken on some parts because it's an alpha. But at least feels great. Feels that I want to be part of it. Feels that I want to build and. And all because what I'm also seeing, which is happening when ResonantOS was designed months ago, was ahead of Codex, of Hermes, of open code, with the idea was much more innovative about what it was supposed to do. At the moment, we see that all those labs are adding some of our functionality. Not everything, fortunately, we still have some advantage over what they want to
Hmm.
build. But the gap is getting narrower and narrower. I'm not developing any new things because I don't want to put other stuff on top. So I don't know if I don't know. I got this again. It's take what I'm saying the right way, please. Okay. Um, that
absolutely. Manolo, I'm showing broken code, right? And as a developer, some guys wouldn't even do this, right? It's kind of hard to just show week
yeah, yeah,
after
yeah. Of
week,
course.
you know, as we're building, because I know it. Some of this looks bad, right? And I'm like, I want that to fix. I want to fix this. I want to fix that. I know the UI UX is not where it needs to be, and we've worked on all the underlying pieces. And in the last couple of weeks, this is where you're seeing some of the changes, and that's what I'm focused on now.
But
So yeah,
you know what?
yeah,
It's a little bit frustrating for me, Tom. So go on this open code, for example. Yeah, you click there. So if the open code is installed and works, at least unless you haven't installed in your system, if it's installed in your system, and means it works. Now, if you go to your agent codex, whatever you're using, and say that you want to see in this working space, instead of this page, you want to see the codex open code interface, you see it right away. It's just one prompt because I remember I did it, and then it broke. But
yeah,
if you just ask to show in that page to show the open code UI, you will have it. It takes a
yep.
second, basically.
And you should be able to see that next week. I got to that point on Thursday. I almost got it going. You know, I've got open code here, and so I've been working on that specifically. That's actually the thing on my table right now is to get open code running inside of this main tab.
And you're saying that the Git repo is available to us for additions. We can build on what's there so far,
Yes,
possibly or
you
not.
can. You can. And there are areas to work on. As Manolo has clearly pointed out, there are UI, UX issues that I'm actively working on, but there are other things that can be worked on if you go to the issues list and you can just filter by epic because I put everything into epics and essentially feats. And if you go there and search on epics, you can see that there are epics. For instance, let's just go into here to the living archive, and you'll see that one associated with all of the tasks related to it. So all of these can be picked up.
Can't we just get like everyone working on this then? Instead of like the hackathons and stuff, we can just focus on making sure this is up to a standard, and then we can do hackathons and stuff after.
Uh, To me, it sounds good. I know that it's not for everyone. Maybe we can divide in groups and say there are, the people that are capable of doing this kind of work. They can go together and maybe guided by Tom and do this kind of work. We each one decide, or even in a team decide different parts and try and start to work. For me, it's a good idea. And we could do it, but cannot be done by everybody at this stage, at least. And maybe at one point it will become easier, and then we can work together. So I don't know. Maybe have a chat with Tom, and we can organize. Even tomorrow, we can divide it as in groups. People that wants to work on Resonant OS, and people that wants to work on whatever else we are doing with the academy. Sorry, I want to give space to Luis that had the hands up for a while, and then we never gave him a chance to talk. So, Luis, sorry about this. Go ahead.
Oh, hello. No, this first is looking great, and I know to develop this kind of stuff is hard. But I was wondering if you can, if the voice already working, can you send a audio message and it will take it from there or not?
The voice.
Yeah, the microphone. Can you activate it, Tom, or not yet?
Oh, you're talking about the microphone on the augmenter?
Yes.
It's still broken. We're working on it. That is also a task, but it's not yet enabled. I've got it partially working, as you can see, but yeah, it's on the roadmap. It's just down the priority list.
So
Okay.
the microphone anyway will it's like how you call it? Does a transcription at the moment. So the idea you click there, you send an audio message to your local AI. And this local AI is an AI that run on CPU, and just transcribe your text and place it there. So it's not complicated, and
The most useful for the user experience, just have the microphone in there. Other thing is like if you try to check, for example, hey, can you look for the Kimi K3 open weight and tell me if my hardware is capable of running that, to see if the agent is enabled to run script in your PC and tell you no, this is not good, and also tell you yes, here is where you can download the open weights right now. Can you do something like that?
I mean, in theory, it should be able to do something like this. Maybe we need to ask a model that it makes sense, so we go to check, because if it's really clever, we'll tell you right away, no, doesn't need to check it, but it doesn't need to check your hardware because the chance that you have to run Kimi K3 is almost impossible. But you can ask anyway. Maybe Tom, you want to see what's the output of something like this. So what we should have as output is a diagnostic of the hardware. So it needs that means it needs computer use to check what is inside the computer, and then try to match with the requirement of the model. So go on Hugging Face basically and check the model. How do you call it? The model card to see what are the specifics.
Right,
And
and I will also add like a, a layer of observability. So I know you have the AI router, but for each task, it will be get, hey, I'm using this model. This is the how many tokens I spend and all the stuff. So you know what is going on behind the scenes, especially in this phase that you are developing the whole thing, you know?
So first of all, okay, so let's say that we ask the question to the augmentor. So if augmentor works well, what it does, it doesn't do the kind of work itself. It delegates straight away to Hermes and ask Hermes to do it, because the job of the augmentor is always to be available for you. So it delegates to Hermes, so it's there that you can carry on chatting without waiting for an answer, and you can carry on chatting. So the delegation would go to Hermes. Hermes for sure can check your hardware, check everything, and you would have an output at the end. The other things that you just asked that I forgot. Sorry, go ahead. Repeat a second.
No,
Yeah. The transparency of the use of the token and so on. So there is an element. If you go on, you see, Tom, there is a 0% usage next to enter. That one. That one is supposed to give you the transparency that you're talking about. This is supposed to tell you what the amount of token, the size of the context window, how much you've been using it. At the moment, it doesn't show anything in reality, and more information about the model and so on. Also, you can trigger the compaction, basically trigger the summary, the moment that you decide, but you can also edit what is going to be saved inside the summary, because you want to be sure, for example, that some data get included in the compaction. I don't know how much you know about how the compaction works. But most of people I experience this AI goes into amnesia, forgetting some really important parts. So in Resonant OS, we want the ability for advanced user, of course, to look and manage the compaction itself.
And the result is we have a chip.
I didn't understand. Someone said something?
Yeah, but I think it was the microphone was open. I don't know what something happened. Or maybe we lost.
Pierre, I'm going to mute you unless you want to speak. Let me know.
So what I see, Tom, even this part basically I don't know what's happening, but it's not reading what is should be part of the context window. One of the problem is it could be connected to this outer router that is taking the data and not sharing with the UI.
Yeah, the context map, if I use it for a little bit, it is plugged in and working.
Okay, it
I
says
think
that there is 260. No, that is usage. Okay. It should, I mean, for looking at the chart, it should show something that is not zero. It should be something. But it says 263 tokens.
Yeah, it starts slowly getting up. I don't know at what point it gets to 1%, but it starts slowly getting up based on the 64. So I think it's doing some math on that.
And I see there is no edit. You remember there was a version where it was like editing the summary that would be created. For
Yeah,
maybe I don't know, compact memory page. So in the past, you used to have next to between compact. Now there was also edit. You would click on edit and would expand this window, in becoming taller or scrollable, and it would be possible to see the edit some part of it, like for example, what, why, and how would be included, or something else. I can't even remember anymore.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that functionality should be here. I'm not sure where it and where I lost it, but I know what you're talking about. The edit function.
Yeah, okay. So we need to start the other call. I don't know, Tom, if you have anything to add of anybody has any other questions. But
I have a
No,
question, if it's okay.
yeah, go ahead.
So how does this tool work with like MCP servers or any like custom tools that you want to add on to it separately?
Yeah, the idea is to work perfectly. Okay, so that is the goal, is to be completely open. So it has already, I mean, in theory, it already has the MCP server. And when you develop an add-on, you have the SDK on how to develop the add-on. So there is explanation on how to connect and be sure that whatever you build is compatible with the augmentor, the structure, and the memory, and so on. So the goal is to make it as compatible as possible. Have this in mind that this is co-owned by us, the community, and therefore we should build it in the way that we want. It's not with no limits, with no weird stuff. There's no. We build exactly what we need. Okay, that is the goal. Maybe things are not going to be present at the beginning, but the direction is to go into our dream app that is free and easy to use by anybody.
I have a tool that's kind of similar, but it's a desktop Electron app. If you can use any of the things in there for this, that'd be great. I'm trying to get into the computer use where it can use like desktop applications. Does this have that ability?
Yes, but like I said, most of the time for us it's better to, especially at this stage, it's better to delegate to agents that are already working properly. So, for example, because the goal of the augmenter is to be present, is to be there working for you, not to be busy that you need to wait an hour before getting an answer. What you do, you carry on working with this agent. Okay, it's one single agent. You carry on working, and this agent keep delegating to different AI or AI instances, so you can get things done constantly without you need to switch constantly. So you talk with this AI, you do your research on whatever things, okay, whatever project. On FIFA, you do the research, you find the something on Disney. Then in the same times you get updates from the app that you're working. That is the ideal. Okay, that you have one chat, you talk with this agent, never forget anything, and carry on managing everything in the background. That is the, for me, the ideal scenario. Okay, I work with one agent as a interface in the background. Everything can happen. Okay, that is the goal. Delegation and it's a major thing, and managing the memory is another is extremely important part.
How are you keeping track of long-term memory?
So there is this here on the sidebar you see that is called Living Archive. So the Living Archive has a series of things. Is again, when we designed this Living Archive was probably the best solution. Maybe now there are better solution, but it was a custom version of LM Wiki. So we had two elements inside the Living Archive. One is completely raw data, untouched, kept like it is. Okay, so any document, everything you do, every chat, everything you give your, for example, your CV, your project, whatever it is. Okay, kept as a raw data. Then what we need memory for the AI. So AI, what it does, it needs to extract information and build a memory system for itself, so it can manage the memory system. And also, because what we have, also the problem of staying updated. So, what is the last decision? It's for example, on a project, you make a decision day one and start working, and then day seven you have another decision. Now, if the AI is not aware about the time, it just find information about the project, it might find all the information. So the information needs to be updated and manage the updating of those data through the memory itself. So that is
Is there
another. Sorry, say.
is there any tool or something that prevents the overriding of important information? Like, say there's an update, but something that was in a prior state is very useful and actually like core to a project. Like, what kind of permissions are there between agents for like overriding of memory?
So first of all, we have the raw data always. So the raw data will never be written. The AI doesn't have permission to write anything there. Can only save documents, but not replace, not update, nothing. That is raw data. So the truth is the raw data. Everything else is not truth. It's an AI interpretation of the raw data. Now you can create like how do you call it, a Git that keep versioning of everything that AI does, of this memory system. So you can have everything in versions and carry on. In theory, it works in that way. I'm not totally sure, to be honest. But in theory, the Living Archive work with versioning and with AI that keep updating everything all the time.
But so the AI does never writes into the raw data at all.
Never. Cannot write. It can only add the documents, but not overwrite or change. The raw data is raw data.
So the raw data is managed by people only.
No, it's managed by the AI, but not by writing. So if you add a document inside the raw data, and the document is there. Okay, so if you want to add another document, you add the other documents. If you need to edit the raw data, then you require your authorization. Cannot the AI go there and change something? Okay, it's you
Okay, so
change.
there's like a permission gate there.
Yeah. That is how it's supposed to be. Your raw data needs to be preserved as it is and unedited, unchanged. I don't know how much raw data you have, but I got a lot, okay? And that raw data has an insane amount of value because that is me. That is the memory of my decision, how I think about doing things, okay? So everything is there. And now AI that we have today are not capable of extracting knowledge from the raw data. But in the AI of the future, hopefully, they will have this capability of understanding how I think, because that is the real asset. And it's understanding how someone thinks require a lot of data, a lot of examples. I'm collecting all those examples. I record 1-2 hours a day of me thinking out loud. Okay, so there is the proper raw data there. Then they get transcribed and then utilized by AI as can
Uh,
do today. But I want to keep the audio file and the transcription and the analysis of the transcription.
I'm curious, like, more so like on the building process. Do you look at like other open source projects and maybe like feed that to an agent to say like what aspects of this project can we implement? Like, what's like the process behind the build?
I'm much more active when I do it. Okay, at the moment I stopped working on this Resonant OS and I gave it to the uh, to the tech team. So, but usually when I work, I have my own idea. So I have my idea, and then I see if someone else did it, and then say, okay, is there? Let's find an open source version of what I want to build. So I don't need to build it again. So I just grab the open source part and I put it together. So I'm not. I build what I need. I don't search for what I don't need. Personally, this is more my way of working. Sometimes I find out about functionality added by, so for example, Hermes come out with this idea of a slash goal, okay, which is a way to make your AI carry on working without stopping until the goal is achieved. Uh, Great idea. Let's add it to my system more than go into Hermes and say, let's copy everything or let's extract what we don't have. If I don't know about it, probably because I don't need it at the moment. But this is how I work. Okay, I like the ideas to come from my real experience instead of adding a lot of things that I don't know if I'm gonna use it or not.
Yeah, same here. I do the same. I don't like reinventing the wheel. Try to be efficient. If there's code there that's already done, I'll pull it in, borrow it, refine it if need be.
But that is the
Well, I would add something for the memory. If you guys have ever seen the repos Understand Anything or Graphify, it makes your memory a lot easier for agents to digest without going through everything and saves you a lot of tokens.
Yeah, I use that inside of the other IDEs. So I'm actually trying to bake in some of those types of things.
yeah. I'm also experimenting with that one uh, with. I mean, I started experimenting. I never go live because I didn't have time to finish it. But I wanted to experiment with my project. So, but that, for my understanding, that memory is really good for no human work, but more AI kind of work. So it's good for a project. So the memory for the project. All right. So if there are no other questions, we can move to the Resonant OS, sorry, Resonant DAO talk.
I
So,
think Chris was waiting to talk. Chris, you have the floor.
sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Just a short question. I wanted to know what ASR we are using at this point.
Too technical for me. What did you ask, Chris? What?
What ASR are we using?
I don't know what it is.
ASR, define that.
It's in the old terms, it's STT, so speech to text.
Okay. Thank you. And please, in general, let's try to be more inclusive, okay? People like me don't understand all those terminology.
No, it's okay, just because it was a brief question and
Yeah.
completely unrelated, so I didn't want to bother everyone.
So I don't know. We need to make decision and probably we can change. I personally came across this software that is called Handy. Which is I don't know if you ever use it. It's I think run on any operation system. Let me find the website. It's open source. I love it. Uh, and probably we can because it's open source. Probably we can just implement in our system. But what I found out about this Handy. Let me see what's the website so I can promote these people.
Handy
Handy.
computer?
Let's see. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's handy.computer. Beautiful. I love it. Basically, it's a software that you just press two keys on your your computer or your keyboard and start transcribing whatever you say. That works on any app. So if you have whatever app you have in front of you, if there is a text space to write, you press two keys and start talking. Then everything you said get transcribed and injected inside a text box, whatever thing, whatever document it is, email, whatever it is. And it's beautiful because it works on everywhere. So, for example, if I need to leave
Yeah.
a comment on YouTube, so reply to a comment, I just press this 2K, I talk, the comment is written, press enter, is done. If I need to leave a command to Hermes, to whatever agent, I do these two things and works. And there are models that run on CPU that are beautiful, so it's pretty powerful. Free
Cool.
open source, run on everything.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks,
And
Chris.
yeah, those models run extremely fast on CPU, so anybody can run those transcribing models.
Yeah, I think I used the Kokoro model locally here. I've been doing some text to speech for my Discord, and I use Kokoro, and it works pretty good. And so that's all free. I think some of the guys, Sam was using OpenAI's speech version, and even the latest one. So I'm not sure if he was here, he could speak to it, but.
So now I'm a little bit confused. Which one is included with Resonant OS?
No, I
No,
was saying I was just personally using Kokoro. We haven't
Okay.
we haven't finished the text to speech yet. Sam has been working on it.
I
Yeah,
see.
Sam's been working on it. He's on about version 3. In fact, there's a dev branch. If you wanted to go, we could go look at it and see. But he's made some headway on it, but not quite done.
Okay. Okay.
I use Handy. It's very good. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
And I think that would be the easiest one to incorporate into Resident OS. And another thing, everyone should be using something like this in their work flows, or else people are going to be running far ahead of you. So try and use it more as much as you can, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, it's an incredible piece of software. All right, let's move. Unless there are other questions, let's move to the Resonant DAO. I got a few things that we need to talk that are actually important. Just give me a second because so there are a few things that are happening with the Resonant DAO. Okay, one of the aspects that we need to look into is the transparency and why it's needed. So transparency is what we are doing. Sometimes it's not easy to to be transparent because uh, for example, in today's call, it didn't feel easy to be transparent because I don't know, there's always a risk to misunderstood. I don't want to be hard on the tech team. Okay, but it, I know, Tom, I totally understand.
Yeah.
But look, from my position, we are on the stage talking about your code that is not finished. So expose something that is not finished and then be having a feedback publicly about a code that is not finished is not completely fair. Okay, that is the truth. It's not fair. Okay, but nevertheless, it's something that we need to learn to do it properly. And so I'm trying to explain why I want to be really careful when I use my word. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not upset with anyone. It's all good, but it's the transparency is sharing my thoughts in this stage so we can improve, learn, and move ahead. Okay, that is the goal. At the same time, I don't believe it's fair. Okay, so that is the challenge that we have. Okay, that is the we should talk about transparency. Is exactly this is one of the problem, but it's the need of transparency is if you want to work in a DAO where everybody is a co-owner of the project. Everybody should be able to look into this box. It shouldn't be a black box that is nobody knows what's going on. Some people know something, some people don't know something else. Everybody should know everything if they want to. So that is the transparency, because an owner should know anything about their business. Okay, and the only way to do it is to create this extremely high level of transparency. That is uncomfortable. Sometimes there is elements that are not 100% right with this level of transparency. So it's something that we need to learn, experiment, and understand. Now, there are a few things that we need to talk about transparency. Okay, so the goal of the transparency is trust. It's not other things. It's not like we want to, be share our idea publicly all the time. It's just to build trust with everyone that works here, because we co-own it. Okay, that is the goal of transparency. But transparency itself is not enough. Okay, I want to give you this example so you understand what we need to achieve. It's not just say I'm transparent and here it is. Okay, transparency requires accessibility, meaning look at, for example, laws and regulation and so on. They are transparent, you have access to them, but then they are basically inaccessible because the language is extremely complicated. The difficulty per words, let's say, is really high. So you have 5,000 pages of content that is really complex to understand. That is not accessibility. That is not transparency. That is a challenge that not many people can take. So what we need to achieve instead is a system that is transparent and accessible. So some part, it might be written and needs to be written in a context, how you say, anyway, in a complex way, because that is the correct way to express that domain. But you need at the head a kind of simplification, okay, that everybody can understand. Simple terms. This is what we want to achieve. The intent of the document is to achieve, like I'm saying here with transparency, is to achieve trust. So whatever else we do needs to be explained in simple terms and short way, so it's clear our intent of whatever we are doing. Then you can go deeper and read and so on. That is the transparency. So transparency requires accessibility. One element, because we are on a DAO, so for us a lot of things work through code. Okay, its code is pretty transparent. Okay, exactly tell you what it does, the smart contract. So there is no element that can be in somehow misunderstood. It's there. It works in this way, but nevertheless, it's not accessible. So every smart contract should have a declaration of intent. This is what we want to achieve with this smart contract. The intent resolve two problems. One problem is this accessibility. Second problem is there are always bugs within the codes. Okay, it's always possible that there is a problem, that the code allows you to achieve something that was not in the intent of the code. So just to give you an example, let's say that there is this smart contract that every time you can use it once a day and receive 10 tokens a day, okay, from this smart contract as a gift. Now you've managed to find a bug that if you double click at midnight, you got 20 tokens. Okay, a bug of the software. That was not intent of the software. That was a bug. So the transparency, even though the code allows you to do something, doesn't mean that was the intent. So the intent is to say, look, what happened was not wanted. Therefore, we're gonna change the code to fix it. That is the another reason why it's important to connect to the code the intent of the code. I'm saying all these things, but then we need to discuss together. But first, I want to give you the picture. Uh, So another things that is happening with the DAO are our weekly calls. So what we do during these weekly calls, we record them and then share on YouTube. So now you are on this on this Zoom call where you get recorded and share on YouTube. Why we do this is for again for transparency, and we have therefore an archive which is YouTube for you to explore and read and check the call. That allows everybody that joined to go back in time and check how we get here, who we are, what we do, how we work. Total transparency. So that is extremely important. But at the same time, create a sense of okay, not always comfortable. So be aware about this, and then you manage your privacy by yourself. You don't want to be transparent. You know that those calls are recorded. You don't want to be, I mean, exposed. Think about this. Now there is another element that because we have this long archive, okay, the DAO exists. I mean, this community exists since. It's not. It's not. I don't think it's a year. I need to check because we might get really close to a year soon. But exists for quite a while. Okay, so there is a lot of content that will be created. This content, because it's true that it's transparent, but start to become inaccessible because it's too much content. So community members start thinking about, what about if we give it to the AI and we can have an AI that totally understands the whole journey, then we can ask a question and use AI to leverage this content. Now, what's happening when you start using AI is that AI basically what it's doing is profiling you. Okay, it's trying to organize all this data. There's massive access to whoever uses this AI to understand all your interaction over the year. Okay, and that is it start to feel it's somehow weird. So it's something that we need to think about. Even though it feels weird, it's what is happening every single day on whatever app you're using from corporation. The difference here is that they know you much better than we actually gonna be able to do it through this AI because they have a lot of years and also they do this thing that is they sell to each other your data. So they start to have a really high profile because they have multiple apps that collect your data. For example, you might be on searching on Amazon for a product, then you go on Instagram and you find a product as an advertisement trying to, buy it. So those are two different companies, but they share the data. So the profiling that they do is insane. Now, what we're doing has a different functionality, which is not to sell you anything, but to actually have this transparency and accessibility. So there are people inside the community that start doing this to experiment. Look at Dustin wants to add this bot inside the Discord and Zoom so we can collect this kind of data. There is Mike that did some observation and connection between how we interact in our calls and how we are in line or in resonance with the manifesto. Really interesting experiment. I don't know if you, Mike, you are in this call, but really interesting experiment that I think has a lot of value. But at the same time, so what we see that you open his page on his browser. I don't know if he's live or not, but he opens that part and we see our names there, which organized in somehow as a profiling. Now it feels weird, but this data is available, so everybody could have collected anyway. So that is the another challenge that we have. It's how we learn to understand that transparency also means sharing, some of our private data, even though we already do with corporations. It's not something new that never happened before. Now we do all the time, and most of us are really bad because we're using like WhatsApp instead of Signal, and we use Chrome instead of, Google search instead of others that are better. There is a Tor browser if you want your privacy. There are a lot of you shouldn't use Windows, for example, for the telemetry, and there is a lot of decision that you can make. Anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you, and now what we should debate, and you should share your point of view on this. On those elements, what are the challenges? Maybe there are things that are said that are missing, but they should be included in this discussion. So pro and cons and challenges on this transparency that in some way is needed as a co-owner. So feel free to share your thoughts.
Manolo, just to clarify, we're talking about our continued conversation from last week about trying to harvest the data out of our videos and put it into a canonical repository so people can search it and such, right? I think it's for me, it's very valuable to be able to look through that data, and I think your point about transparency is really important because this is an open source project, and we want to make sure that everyone's aware of what we're doing and able to help. And I'm in agreement with trying to get that information into a usable format. And other people, there might be some concerns about privacy or exposure, but like you said, I think we're pretty much we're already out there, on the internet. We're in Discord, we're in YouTube. That information is sort of available. I think we're just trying to make it usable. Seems to me that's what we're going for, is to make the data usable to us.
Yeah, and as long as there's a place where people can go and remove any of their own data, and then I don't see it, being an issue. I'm not bothered myself, but I'm just saying, if that option's there, then everyone's got that comfort of knowing I can just go and just edit or remove my segment or whatever. It's not going to impact the entirety of it.
Manolo, you're muted.
Thank you, Chimo. So I was saying, first of all, let's start by raising the hands so we can talk in order. And Joseph, what the problem that you are raising? I mean, this ability of deleting your data, it's correct, but virtually really complex. At the moment, there are not many people that are really active in this community. Let's say that people that comes to the calls maybe are around 50 are moving around, and people that inside Discord maybe are not that many, but there are, I don't know, maybe a few hundreds that are active, that every now and then post and comment and so on. There are some people that are really active and some people are really minimum active. But when we scale and start to think about that, we have, let's say, in an optimal scenario, we have, I don't know, 200,000 active members. Okay, managing 200,000, where how can you allow someone to edit the data? Because the moment that they can edit the data, they should be able only to edit their own data and not someone else's data. And by removing some of their data, they change the meaning also of the narrative of someone else's content. So it's really complex. While on Discord, at the moment, you can go there and delete whatever you've wrote, so you can manage your own parts. On all the rest, it can become really complicated. So I don't know how technically would be possible to do it. I would be amazing to do it, but when I see the technical problem, I don't know how
I
to do it in a way that is makes sense.
I feel with what I've heard from people's technical know-how, I don't think that's going to be a difficult thing to implement. Or
I mean, look at this video. Now we post this video, and then you carry on coming with us, for example, for the next 6 months, and then you say, I want to remove myself for every single video. Can you understand the impact that your action does? It can be 200 300 videos to be removed, and 200 300 video of knowledge be removed
what
by.
about what about putting a layer of anonymity? So yes, people's data is, but model, let's say, won't know exactly who the individual is. They just know that that individual's in the group, or is that maybe that's something that people can opt in to
So
say,
I
want.
I mean, the opt-in is the moment that you come on Zoom, you know that you've been recorded. So that you opt-in. You can join and be recorded. Then you can not say anything. Don't turn the camera. Change your name. That is up to the user to manage. At this scale, we can still do some editing. Okay, so let's say that something goes wrong. Chimo will take down this video, edit the part, re-upload the video. It's not the end of the world at this level because it's not many of us, and it's really complicated when you have much more users because then you have every single day 10 people telling you, look, I want to change this, I want to change, I don't like that part or something. It's just gonna be.
Final thought I would have on that before moving on to give other people chances, that how many people will not approach the group because of that, right? Is
Yeah.
that a worthwhile sacrifice to not having that anonymity factor for those people who are, for some reason, conscious about it?
I personally really believe in anonymity. I don't say the word, but I believe in that part. The But if you want to do it, there is a way. Okay, don't use your personal name. Change your name every time that you join a Zoom call. Don't show your camera. Don't talk. Okay, use a filter on your face or your voice. There is a way. If you really care, you can do it. You can participate in the form. You lower your level of trust because people trust each other because we see our faces. Okay, we see who we are, and over time we compound the trust that we build with people. But if you want to do it, that is the cost. Okay, and that is connected to who we are as a humans. There's not much we can do on one side. Okay, I'm not saying that there is no solution. We need to think about those solutions, but it needs to be a solution that can be implemented. So before I give voice space to others, I know that Mr. Gates wanted to talk. I don't know what's happened. So Mr. Gates, I don't know if you still wants to talk. If you're talking, you're muted on Zoom. Okay, maybe you don't want to talk, Mr. Gates. So Zach, go ahead. I mean, I see hands going up and down. I don't know what's going on. So now I see only Dave with the hands up. So Dave, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, we do get a notification that the meetings are being recorded and transcribed, but maybe it would be better if we had, just a quick disclaimer somewhere, maybe right next to the link instead of, you being expected to say it every time. Maybe just put it in the link. If you wish to remain anonymous, please use a pseudonym, something along those lines.
Yes, and it's a good idea. We should do it. We need to find a way to do it properly. Unfortunately, whatever you do, it's to make it legally strong, it's not enough. Needs a signature for that person. So it's just go into madness scenario. Okay, regulation on these kind of things insane. Okay, the moment that I even if I say people say, oh, yeah, I didn't read it. I joined the community now on YouTube. So the only way to do, at least with the European law, is you need to sign it, and then I have the liberty of sharing your work, your present, whatever it is. So it's I agree we can add, but whatever we do, it's never gonna be enough. It needs to be understood by the community instead that when we're gonna have the DAO, you sign a smart contract where you say I'm agree on this, and that's what I want from me and from others. But so we need to write the actual smart contract for this, Mr. Geist.
Yeah, forgive if there's any noise in the background. I believe it can be done, but like you said, I think just to accept, the consequences of it. Just know that the trust level is reduced, and but I think you can take part. You can be anonymous, and you can take part in the community. So there are ways of doing it. So yeah, but I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, exactly. It's about managing your comfort zone. Okay, each one of us can decide. Honestly, you can use voice filters, avatar for your face, change your name. You can do whatever you want. There is no limit on that side. The problem is more about you said something. Now I don't wanna be there anymore. That is create a work that needs to be done. Uh, which scaling that part is really complicated. Carrie.
I do a lot of work in this space in healthcare, which is one of the few highly regulated industries in the United States. So I'm not speaking about GDPR here. Okay, and someone just commented about it. And I know most of us are in Europe, so this is a different regulatory landscape. My recommendation would be, regardless of what we actually do within the community, that we at least consider gating our data. So even if we are collecting it for our own purposes, for purposes of enriching knowledge within the, knowledge sharing within the community, say, Carrie talks about RVs. Oh, hey, you talked about an RV. Do you want to talk to Carrie? Like that is kind of an innocuous or potentially benign piece of information, which is to connect people with similar topics, right? Like we can think about all kinds of different applications, but I think the most important thing for me personally, I think if I'm not saying I am a victim of domestic abuse, for instance, where would I not want my face? Out on the public web. So regardless of what this summarizing profiling bot does, my biggest concern would be that we're gating that data and that it's not widely available to bots or other AI. And I know Cloudflare is leading this space. So regardless of what we do and regardless of whatever profile it says, if I'm an RVer, great, whatever. So long as it's only people within this community, which is a vetted community, have access to that information. That is my primary concern, because that addresses 95% of regulatory issues. Because even if we do have a leak, if it's gated at the door, we only have to worry about a leak to 1,000 people versus Google, which is a very different thing. So I would love to talk about like what that gate looks like before we get too into the weeds of what the AI said about me. But big picture versus, okay, I'm an RV or whatever. I'm also a pretty cool human, but I'll argue with the AI about that.
Sounds good. I want to two things that we could do. So, but I don't know if we can do it with the YouTube channel that we have at the moment. YouTube can be also run as a membership. Okay, so you can have only membership can see those videos. So that could be a way of saying, or even the video, at least some of the video can be done in that form. Therefore, data stay within the members. And that could be a way for doing with YouTube. With our AI agent, it's there is one challenge. Okay, let's say that we have access to that data the moment that you register to the DAO. So, which is possible to do. Okay, so you download Resonant OS, you register to the DAO. Now you have the smart contract that will be checked before you can deal with the specific AI. Okay, so in theory it's solvable. But what is not solvable is Mr. Google coming to download the app, register to the DAO, and then have access to the data. You see what the problem here is. So even we can create a gate, but we can't stop to be having the data stolen.
We can make it a lot harder though. Like one example is, and you can argue back and forth about usability. If you don't enable transcripts, actually, it it's harder to harvest. Like I think that there are things we can do to increase the friction to make that data available, even if we are all under kind of the idea that it's all going to get out there anyway. Or instead of the little, to your point, Manolo, about being clear where this data goes. Like I think I would have a very different reaction to, oh, this is being recorded. This to a disclaimer that also says this is being recorded and being put up on this public YouTube channel feed attributed to your name, right? That's I think a more informative and useful disclaimer. And then at least it's in my mind, it's like, oh, this data is going somewhere besides just the community, because that's my first assumption when I go through the trouble of signing up for Discord. It's gated. You have to get into Discord and then you access it. But then there's just this channel. So even if you just sort of let people know where it's going and the usage, I actually think we should have a not a terms of service, but just kind of like an easily human readable, like, yeah, transparency notice, right? But people aren't going to read it. I mean, that's the problem. I don't read these stupid things. So like who does who actually reads these, right? But like if we have ongoing conversations about it, blanket consents, I mean, to your point, Manolo, are not super great. Unless you like spam people with it, they're not really going to pay attention to it or until there's a breach. So the only thing we can really do is as a group err on the side of zero trust to big orgs like Google is what I'm saying, not to humans, but in an era of agents. That's, unless you have that gating with Cloudflare or something that like operates on that technical level, it's really kind of hard. So anyway, that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, so let's have this clear in our mind. Okay, we want to achieve maximum privacy for us. Okay, it's not nobody wants to share anything with anybody. Okay, that is the idea. But within the community, we would like to have maximum transparency because you own it, you own this. So you don't want people doing things in the which is also you might don't want, but they might do it anyway, and it's fine. But in reality, what you want is the DAO to be transparent. So those moment of decision, those moment of working together, collaborating, learning, and so on, it's there is different layers, level of privacy. Maybe we need to start thinking about what they are and implementing them. Uh, but the goal is never to share everything for everybody for for the pleasure of it. It is preserving as much data as possible. If we find a way, maybe there is about I don't know an encryption that can be only encrypted by the what's the name the smart contract. On what you said about so you said something that I wanted to answer. Ah, the transcription problem. So the transcription problem is only for people like us. For us, is a cost, is a problem. Okay, for YouTube is they do all the time, so it's not a problem. It's not transcribed. It doesn't matter. They just take it. So it's you don't stop the large corporation. You only stop the small individual by creating this kind of gates. So you slow down, you raise the cost, but for them, if they care, they take it. And probably they don't even trust your subscription, your transcription. They go for the raw data if they can. Chimo, go ahead. Chimo, you're gone. Oh no, you're muted.
I'm muted. Just to make things a little bit more complicated, these meetings are also open. So even if we stop recording and publishing them, if anybody can come in here, we're not guarding them to be transcribed, recorded by anybody that comes in. So if we change in order to preserve, we're going to have to make many changes. And I don't know how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely complex. There is one point that I forgot to mention that I said at the beginning that I would mention in this call, which was about the shield of the resonant shield, which I'm gonna talk about after Zach. Zach, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to question the value of creating and retaining these videos, these streams for transcribing. Just how much lessons learned, pre-mortem stuff do we get out of it? Because if it actually has value, then we should be maximizing on it sooner. And I completely endorse everything Kerry said. Because a lot of the time, having left law enforcement, helping survivors of abuse, realistic advice has been, sorry, you're going to have to obfuscate yourself for the rest of your life. Because if there's a real threat and that's not something that we can provide you 24/7 protection around, you have to protect yourself. And that sucks. But also weighing up maximum privacy and maximum transparency, those two are opposed to each other. I mean, do I really need to know that, you know, you're going into the shower? I just need to know that you're clean.
Yeah, well, exactly. You don't need to share it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's yeah, it's up to the user to decide what they share. But some people don't have the knowledge of fully understanding those elements. The fact that you have this professional experience about it maybe can actually help us how to stay anonymous into a public space like this one.
I'd have more
Like I
questions
suggested a few
about
things, but just random ideas. Okay.
why would there are some very obvious reasons why somebody might want to be anonymous, but barring their personal safety, if they don't want to share, then they should share in the context that they can protect. So if you want to share your thoughts and you don't want to share your video stream, your audio, then put in a chat. If you don't even want to do that, then find a third-party intermediary to funnel your ideas. But understand in doing that you are giving up the right to that idea being published under your name. Like, for the most part, people are fire hoses of crap. Most of the ideas don't even matter. They probably weren't the originators. But the point is that we want these things to converge, and then we as groups that get together get to pick out from the stream what's valuable and then incorporate it. But maybe I just went too far there.
No, those are good input and useful. So it's in this session, it is about talking together and understanding the problem. So expanding, it's the way to go. So it's thanks a lot for this, Zach. Chris, go ahead.
So Zach actually asked a very important question. Do we really need video to accomplish what we want to accomplish? And that would require us to ask a second question: what do we want to accomplish? So promoting Resonant OS by recording the videos and posting them on YouTube is fine. But Some may argue it's much better to post cat videos with our voices over the videos as a better way to attract new members. What I mean is maybe there are other solutions that we should consider, and the most how should I put it, gentle method is to simply extract a summary, a text of the conversation, and use it internally. In Mike's something of that sort project, a big knowledge base of all of the conversations that we've had. Alternatively, we can create some other form of think of other forms of media, but it's a good question. Do we really need to go full video, and what are all our goals for the project? So
I'm gonna share my opinion because this is each one of us has an opinion if regarding the Chris question. Do we need it? Okay, is important. To me, is extremely important. Okay, but this is my opinion. Okay, it's extremely important because this is how I get to know you. The fact that I see those people time over time, and it's it's how we build a trust. We get to know each other. The video allow us to connect humanly through internet, which is something extremely complex. And now you think about I know what to share, not what to share. Okay, so I had this chat with one of our members. That was we exchanged a couple of messages, and we start having a fight basically without wanting it. Okay, but then we jump inside the call, and everything was fine. Okay, we have a lovely call. And getting to know each other. But in the chat, without faces, without the sound of the voice, whatever it was total misunderstanding from each other from the beginning. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter the reason. The misunderstanding was the problem, and we only solved the moment that we stop and realize, look, this is not working, but it's the media that is not working. Let's meet on a call, and everything was fine afterward. So that is the power of seeing the facial expression, the tone of the voice, and so on. So for this reason, I think it's really extremely important. So what we are sharing, it's this also our commitment of time over time, meeting over meeting, over months after months. That is a signal, is a strong signal for people to join later and see, look, these people have been here meeting every single day, a few hours a day, working and building this. Okay, that is a proof. So even the archive has an importance by itself. Tom, go ahead. Sorry, there was a double question from Chris. So one, sorry, can you, Chris, go ahead, can explain again? So one was if we need it, and the other was?
and the other one was why do we need it, or if there is an alternative that we can, an alternative method or media. So I just wanted to make a little comment. I'm not doubting the value of these meeting and kind of face to face as much as we can get face to face. I'm doubting the real benefit of posting everything online. I don't have a problem with us just extracting the content and keeping that internal for our purposes, or even doing a closed video archive. I don't think, well, I'm sure some of the meetings, for example, the Friday meetings, those are meetings that are significant. But for example, meetings like this, For most people, it's mostly related to it's most value for members who could not make the meeting, or those select few that are active. Sorry for
Yeah, no,
the
makes
long
sense. So
response.
I mean, the only solution that I can think about is because the value is there. Okay, our YouTube Resonant DAO channel get watched by people. Okay, so there are people watching it, so there is a value there, and there are some videos that get watched more than others. There is, I don't know, Chimo knows the number better than me, but there is one video there is being watched for over 200 times. So there is people watching this within the community, or maybe outside the community, but which I really doubt that someone from outside the community is gonna watch this kind of video. It's just madness, 2 hours of madness, basically. So it's really rare that it's gonna happen, but there is always a chance. Uh, we can create the membership, but I don't know if it's possible to do with the subscribers that we have at the moment on YouTube. The membership means members need to be registered to be able to watch. And if we want, we can create an extra gate. And I don't know if it makes sense, but we can make an extra gate and say, look, the membership costs $1 a month. Okay, so there is an extra gate for uh, removing bots and stuff. Um, so Chris, you had a double question. I forgot again the second part. Or did I answer? Did...
Yeah, you pretty much did. Yes.
All right, thank you. Tom, go ahead.
Okay. So just trying to wrap it into my head, the purpose of this meeting intelligence architecture system and what we were doing, I think it was twofold. It was to give us the ability to do calculations based on contributions in the meetings. That was one of the aspects, is to try to be able to measure who's showing up, what participation, what they're doing, and build an algorithm to be able to capture contributions from that perspective, the community contributions. And then the other aspect was to be able to make this searchable, which right now, on Discord or on YouTube, if I need to find something that somebody talked about, I'll go and I'll pull the transcript out and I'll search it. Or if I'm in Discord, I'll just go do a raw search in Discord to try to find something, which makes it more difficult. So I think the second part was we were trying to make this corpus of meeting intelligence searchable. And it's already out there. Like I said, you can look on YouTube, you can look on Discord now, but I think what we were trying to do is build a way to put it into, a searchable database. And like Carrie said, that could be put behind our wallet, right? So maybe that's only accessible to DAO members so they can go and search that database, but really that data is kind of there. I think Zach had a good question. What exactly are we trying to achieve? And if it's a way to measure the contributions, I think that's important. The secondary reason of making it searchable, it's already kind of there, So I think the real question on the table is that contribution calculation and how important is that, and how do we achieve it? I think that's where this kind of started.
Thank you. Cosmonautic.
I wonder for a long time here, what does all this actually solve? And what's the future, like how is the plan for the future be like? Because I think in the future we will have trillions and trillions of agents that are going through internet and all that stuff. And what will this do in the future? Like, how can we prepare for something that we're not prepared for? Sort of say. Yeah, that's my whole take.
For me, it's the answer is this resonant shield, which I'm gonna explain after Melissa, because this I think that is how we need to prepare ourselves. It's defend ourselves. Is we need this shield. I'm gonna describe how it works towards internet and data in a second. Melissa, go ahead.
Yeah, I just, while we were talking about how do people contribute in different types, and of course, I know that the system's not ready for something like this yet, but I started thinking about people who have disabilities, maybe some neurological condition, cerebral palsy, all sorts of things where they want to share their thoughts and maybe can't speak. And if at some point we'll have to be conscious of the chat. I just started thinking about it because of the chat and how someone brought up how the chat can be, it's a great, fun, interactive place, but maybe if people put a certain sign or a certain symbol in front of a question mark, something like that, if they really want their chat read aloud for them. So if they don't want to speak, but they want their chat read, maybe there could be a feature for that at some point, which would help also with anonymity because we don't know. I know as a presenter, I don't know what part of the chat people want me to read out loud and which part they don't, but I'm happy to read it out loud for someone. So that was just what I was thinking about.
Yeah, really good thinking. And yes, so yes, we need to start thinking about those problems to be more inclusive. I, I know, I know this sounds crazy, but it's something that I care so much. For example, I wanted to learn the sign language. Okay, I think it's everybody should know it. I don't know why they don't teach inside schools. It's I really wanted to learn this sign language. Then in London I found out that it costs at least $2,000-3,000 to learn it, which is insane. It should be free. It should be any school should learn it. And then I get in touch with some of those people they use it, and because I wanted to learn directly from those people, maybe I could pay them instead of a school. And then I found out that is extremely important for when they are old, when everybody get old, they start to not listen properly, so they can carry on talking and carry on talking even at distance, which is amazing. So it's such a superpower that everybody could learn and implement in their life to just remove that barriers. So there is so much intelligence locked inside some people just because we can't interact with them. So building, like Melissa was saying, system that can create more inclusivity, it's extremely important. We need to think. It's everything. It's a cost, but it's up to us decide what are the priorities. Okay, so we as a community, we say this, we care about this, so we raise the priority of whatever it is. Okay, so we do this collectively, and therefore, thank you, Melissa, for bringing this up. And this, whatever you said about this symbol or something, uh, if you want to suggest some whatever, and then we start implementing it in our system. I'm gonna do all comments like that one, but having, but yeah, go ahead, Chimo.
Yeah, just that maybe does make sense if I only share publicly some of the meetings, and we do insist in those, like Fridays, and then people that come and for whatever reason of the listed, then they know that only those meetings go really public. I don't know. But then, yeah, and then I would also not extract all the data that I share also in the document that I add on YouTube on those days.
Is this like for industry secrets kind of thing, so that it stays more in-house?
Sorry.
What I just said, I know I meant for all the different reasons, for people at risk or people with disabilities or for whatever reason, people that are not comfortable. So they know that they can engage in the community, they can participate many meetings, but then there's 3 meetings a week that are completely public. Maybe that makes sense and we can consider that. But what we want is what Manolo was saying. We are building human connections here. So it is important that we connect and we see our faces as much as possible. It changes the energy of the meeting. But then I don't know. I'm still talking. Sorry.
Yeah, you're talking. No, why you're sorry, Chimo? Don't understand.
No, because I started to lose my own thread and I hate it.
Okay. No, I got distracted by Carrie, I think, fighting with an insect or something. So that's why I start laughing. Zach, go ahead.
I was just going to respond that partly because Tom detailed the purpose of that analysis that you perform on each recording. That's stuff that I do for any portfolio or program that I'm program in terms of project management. So if I have a large project office or directorate of 300 or 400 people, there are lots of meetings happening, then I do care about the value of each one of those meetings. So in recent years, being able to have that analysis more directly facilitated by agents has been incredibly valuable. And it does allow you to both weigh up contribution in volume, but also the quality of contribution. And if you're trying to do something, then you do need to identify where the good stuff's coming from. So that work, and it's partly because of Tom's explanation, that makes a lot of sense. I just don't see the point in putting it up on YouTube. I should say that listening to Manolo's his posts is part of my nightly ritual on the days that they get posted because it's what I go to sleep to. But I've also got nieces that for the last week who have had access to the recording just play it and they just leave it as background noise because they don't, well, less lonely. But that inherently is not a reason to record it, to come up with the challenges that you then have to overcome when actually what you want to do is something else. Yeah.
Thank you, Zach. And it's so nice to know that I'm there.
It's not creepy. I think it's creepy. All right.
It's no, it's really nice, and thank you for sharing this. One thing that I want to say, okay, so what we're doing is something that is, from my point of view at least, for how I see it, it's this pioneering journey of building this community, the DAO, the project, okay, getting together, learning together. It's something incredible what we're doing, and we are documenting this with this, technology, which is amazing. And we are sharing this learning publicly. That is an act of contribution to humanity, for how I see it again. That has a massive value. A value that maybe today it's only for us, maybe tomorrow is going to be for more people, maybe we're going to change really the world and there's going to be a moment of history. So for me, as a massive value of this sharing and working openly in public, because it's not just the act of building, but the act of showing how we think. This is a moment in history where we are being in front of a massive challenge, and this is how we are dealing with it as a humans. And I think this has a value, an enormous value for a lot of other people that can learn on how even, for example, younger people can see, let's look how older people think. Just to give an example, how these people think or whatever it is. Okay, there is so much value in what we do, and maybe we don't recognize today the value of those action or the value of what we're sharing, how we think, how we challenge, how we negotiate friction and so on. But all of this is extremely important. Now we are capturing all this data, which through AI we can leverage even more, but even more from the AI of the future, because the AI that we have now is so basic that that cannot do much. But this raw data, again, that we are start collecting, from my point of view, is extremely valuable. I personally like that we are open to the public, to everybody, unfiltered, because we are showing also some of the courage of being a pioneer. And to me, it's such a beautiful act, such a beautiful gift that we do to the community, to the larger community, let's say. I think that is the value. Now, this is the beauty of it, okay? The beauty of giving and sharing the process, showing the process how it's done in a raw sense, the fatigue and the amount of work that is required to do what we're doing. It's shared there raw. Everybody can see it. Now, there is the other side, okay? That is the thing that we were talking about, how we protect ourselves from this. Okay, that is a kind of a different level of a problem, because there are a lot of good people out there, but also people that are not good. Okay, so the more you expose yourself, and more you become a potential target, and everything can be anything. Okay, that is the risk. What we need to find, I mean, first of all, as an individual, each one of us needs to find that balance. That is the sovereignty that we are talking about. Now, maybe we need more understanding of the problem so we can face the problem, but not with fear. Okay, but with knowledge of what are the problems, what are the potential solutions, how shall we deal with this kind of reality, and then each one of us needs to decide. I'm gonna be here with the camera on, with my face, with my voice, with my ideas, and whatever it is. That is your sovereign decision. Other people will take other decision, and this diversity that we have inside this group shows that we are free to do it. Okay, we have people that decide not to share their camera, and they are accepted. It's fine. Okay, there is a lot of people here that actually they have their camera off. And it's fine. It's their decision. For me, it's better on. Okay, but this is my desire of connecting, seeing faces. Other people has different desire, so it's all good. Uh, Cosmonautica, I don't know if your hands stay up. And you
Yeah, it was. I'm sitting here eating tortilla chips right now. I don't think you want to see that.
No.
But so the thing is that what was I supposed to say? I lost myself there a little bit. No, the thing is that this stuff is that we're doing right now. I think this is going to be more valuable in the future. Maybe not right now, but in the future, most people will look back and think like, oh, people actually talk to each other even more. Even when Facebook was like people stop talking because of Facebook, but now we will be agents talking to agents. So I think that the biggest issue we will have in the future is like, how can we trust the agents, not the humans? How can we trust the agents? Because the agents will have our own agents, and how can we trust them? And our agents will be like on the Resonant OS, right? How can we trust the agents? Not the human. I don't mean like the humans. And yeah.
So one of the goal of ResonantOS is to build the one AI we can trust, because we need to trust one AI and that's it. We don't trust anyone else. Okay, we just trust our own AI, the one that we own, and we build it in a way that we can trust it. So we own it. The only way to trust is to own, control, and manage, and be sure that is yours. That is the first minimum requirement. We can't trust anything done by OpenAI or Anthropic or any kind of corporation. It's the idea of trusting a corporation like this is it's there is a problem there.
Yeah,
So
but if we want the real privacy, we can just start again with doing like the bird messaging. You know, like when you send the bird with the message.
yeah, but there is one thing is deciding what to share and what not to share. Okay, a lot
Yeah.
of the work that I do, I keep it private. A lot of things that I do, I go on YouTube and I'm here on this chat. So it has to be our sovereign decision. And I want to give now, even though the hands is not up, but our friends, turn on the
But if
camera.
Hey guys.
people, but if
Sorry.
Friends, I see you're on. Did you have anything to add?
No, I already wrote it in the general chat, right? Unfortunately, I just joined 5 to 10 minutes ago, Manolo. I don't know if I have all the context, right? But if it's about this voice recording or not, right, with the bot, or where are we right now?
No, you're completely in a different world.
Yes.
But
I still have the camera on.
Thank you. No, we were talking about the transparency within the DAO and the accessibility that needs to come with the transparency. So the problem that we are facing is these recordings of those call that we do. They are going then inside Zoom, sorry, inside YouTube, but also get processed by, at the moment it's not, but each one of us has the freedom to get the transcription and process those data and start to build their own database and start.
Something that Mike is doing right now, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and the moment it goes on YouTube, someone else can do it. Okay, so there is the problem of your privacy versus transparency, how we deal with this, how we learn to how to
Yes.
deal with this, and the problem of even though we want to be good with our data, but then we go on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and give everything to everybody. Okay, so there is on one side the understanding, I want to be, private, or really like it, I want to, be sovereign, and then chatting with your partner over WhatsApp.
Yes.
Okay, it's the exact opposite, and most people that's what they do.
Yes, agreed. And but that's what I meant because I wrote it in the general chat. I just took the chatbot as example because all the input from those things gathering are also videos and those kind of things. So it's for me it's the same thing. But I see what we are doing here right now as a sandbox, and out of curiosity, I'm sharing everything. Right? I'm oversharing also in the chat right now. So if that is too much, somebody needs to tell that. But I'm oversharing because. If we have the data and are processing it and we are doing that as a community, we can learn faster on what those guys are doing with it. In the end, yes, it's on YouTube, of course, and there's some risk to it as well because I'm in a normal company, right? And I told everyone in what kind of company I'm working, those kind of things. So it's stressing me out a little bit. But as I said, it's for me, there are two things. One is the growth potential for myself to going into that, because if I wouldn't be talking to you guys, then I wouldn't learn and I wouldn't think about what is actually going on when I'm writing via WhatsApp and those kind of things. And the other thing is, and that is why I'm very happy that Cosmo's also here. What I'm thinking about a lot is Cosmo's statement. I think it was last week somewhere, when he said, "I don't care if somebody's jerking off to my voice." He was really explicit about it, that he's not caring about sharing and those kind of things. And for me, I'm ambiguous. I don't know yet, Manolo, but I'm open to learn and to search my feelings, because if I'm not doing it, I'm a human being. If I'm not doing it, I don't feel anxious or not anxious or those kind of things. So I cannot tell you right now, but I'm in the learning journey, I'd say.
And that is exactly the journey of the pioneers. You don't know unless you do it. Nobody then can tell you. You go there to the edge and then walk into the unknown. And that's what I believe we are doing with this experiment. And hopefully we will not regret it. But nobody knows. I mean, we can just follow our intuition. My intuition is positive, okay. But because I look at the quality of our members, okay, I look at each one of you. I want to share with you. I don't have any problem. And then maybe it's the reason why some people say let's share it just within the community, because the community feels safe at the moment. I mean, it's incredible the quality of the people here. But at the same time, safety can be seen as just an illusion, and is a moment, and we shouldn't treat our data and our whatever we're doing with the feeling of the moment. It's it's not safe. We should treat it as it's not safe, and therefore act accordingly. YouTube is not safe. The community is not safe. It's not true that it looks safe. It doesn't mean that it's safe. There are today 20 in this moment 23 people in this chat. Okay, and we know each other. We start meeting each other. There is almost 2,000 people inside the community. So we don't know everybody. So the safety is something that we shouldn't consider exist. We should try to build it, but always don't share anything that you don't want to be there. That is, I think, the learning from this. So it's we half an hour after the limits. So if anybody wants to go, of course, is welcome to go. Nobody get offended. But I wanted to share about the idea of the shield that I explained the first hour. That I said I will talk about, and then I never did. So I think almost a year ago, something like this, okay, on one of my video or one of my articles or both, I don't remember. I explained one element of the shield, okay, this is our resonant of shield that has so many functionality. Is the idea of protecting us. One of the things that I was experimenting with for level of protection would be, okay, now I'm sharing all my data. Okay, so YouTube knows about me, Facebook knows about me, Instagram, whatever, WhatsApp, everything. Everything knows about me. They sell each other data, so they have an incredible profiling of who I am. And I don't even want to know what they know because it's gonna be insane. I'm pretty sure that there is a lot years and years of me. But then I was thinking, okay, but what if we have an AI that works in the background, that what it does is poisoning the data that they own? Okay, so it started doing web research, communication over whatever chat, whatever, sorry, social network and so on. Start acting in my behalf, I think that's the word, for it's gonna start acting for me, but to poison, meaning give wrong data to those people. Watch random YouTube video, like some random comments on, or to some random weird whatever direction that is needed to create noise, poisoning the data that they have on me. So go on, for example, on Amazon, start searching for product that they're not connected to what I really buy, what I really need. So you start creating a series of data entry inside their database, their profiling of me, that it just poison who I am. They creating chaos and noise in their profiling. That can be done with the resonant shield by saying, through a software and say to this AI, if maybe it's as a form of add-on, overnight do this kind of work, okay, or do it every now and then. I mean, anyway, it's a local model, so at the end it costs nothing. Just go and do stuff on internet, okay? Poison this data of those large corporations. Watch some movie, do some random stuff. That was one of my thinking many years ago, which today came back to my mind because we wanted to talk about this privacy. And maybe that is one of the way that we can still be honest to ourselves because we meet here and but then having our agent creating it's called I think it's called data poisoning or something like this for AI. So you basically you ruin the data set. That was my thinking that I wanted to share. And I like the you guys talk in the chat, but it's beyond my limit of.
No, no, it's all right, Manolo. We just didn't want to interrupt you, so
Okay.
I wanted to share a thought on that.
Cosmonautic one.
Oh, this guy, what is he actually doing? He's just looking at gardening tools all the time on the web. What the fuck? 1.5 years of just gardening tools and equipments.
Yeah, and never
That was just
bought
my
anything.
thought. That was just my thought.
That sounds like a friend I want to make.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're talking about Dave?
Just creating even more confusion in this. Zach, if you're into gardening, and every Tuesday I have this call on TikTok with this person. We talk about AI, but he loves to do gardening. So really often, every example that he brings up to understand how AI works, it is about gardening. So you're free to join TikTok.
Agriculture is, yeah, it's a big thing for me. Like duckweed is a thing that I could talk about for ages.
I meant that we were served for other things, and all that Google can pick up is like the garden tools. That was what I meant.
So I'm not going to skip the queue because there are two people in front of me.
Friends.
Yeah, I just wanted to just actually say what is in the chat that is very interesting to say. I like the idea of poisoning, so to say, the AIs, the frontier models, but I also think like this is something that you would do after you cross the bridge, you burn it, right? So right now my local models aren't strong enough that I can completely ignore my frontier models.
Yeah, no,
and
sorry, I was not saying poisoning the data set from the AI model itself, because it's been already developed. So, but poisoning the profiling that, for example, Google has about
memory.
Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, so it's their part more than anything else. And yeah, so if you're using their memory system, we need to talk because you shouldn't use their memory system. You should have your own sovereign memory.
Yeah, of course. No. It's everything on my part or on my side, but I still have. I think Lok wrote that also in the chat that he's completely gone from Google and everything. He's just using Brave search engine, those kind of things, and that is still a backlog for me. To just get out of the system. Use DuckDuckGo and those kind of things. I think that's the more honest way. Then, I mean, of course. Politely asking Google to delete everything from you, but actually,
No, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. It's an hope, but yeah, but I mean, avoid to use that system is one step, but they're magic. They have this magic power. They buy things. They cross-reference stuff. There are people now on Facebook that are being profiled by Facebook just because we talk about those people. So it's they are to another level. Okay, they are really to another level. So poisoning, what they collect can help creating a profile of you that is not precise, and therefore they don't fully understand who you are, how you think. That's
But
Mm.
my
maybe that they will just turn us off them from their searches, so we can't search on Google.
then would be a victory for us. Joseph, go ahead. Uh, sorry, I was reading the chat and then I forgot who was about to talk. That is, no, I'm not hearing.
I think Joseph, but he went silent, so it would be Zach.
Was I muted?
Okay.
I
So
was
yeah,
talking about what you were saying. The shield sounds similar to a VPN. I was saying, in a sense. Is that along the lines?
a VPN, what it does is connect to another computer, so they don't know that is you doing the research. But if you're logging from with your, I don't know, whatever, into, for example, I don't know, Facebook, and you use the VPN, that Facebook knows that is you because you're logged in. It just doesn't know where you are. So maybe you are based in London, you use the VPN from New York, then they think that you are on New York. But they see the VPN because they know that it's a VPN, and therefore there's no, this person is using a VPN, and that's it. In some cases, the VPN can help you if you don't log in into the service, then it is anonymous.
So
But
I'm
it's
thinking
different from collecting the data.
when this thing happens and like I'm talking about Doritos, my phone picks it up. And then no matter where I go next, I can go to Amazon, TikTok, multiple different platforms I can go to will now advertise me for that one. You know, it's not like, oh, one person has captured it and used it on their market. So there's that in itself. Yeah, I don't see how someone can really combat that.
Yeah, I don't know. We need anyway. It's something that we need to implement and think and find a solution so we have a stronger shield for ResonantOS that can help us without becoming an expert in you know in deceiving those corporations. Zach, go ahead.
Essentially, to kind of point out a couple of things. The first one being, if we are talking about defense against AI, and possibly more evolved data protection postures, that is a serious discussion. But preceding that is actually something in the form of a charter, so that everyone involved understands what it is that this group is looking to achieve. And it has bounced back to that. If I'm talking to a if I'm interviewing a project manager and they say they're an agile specialist, first thing I'll ask them is, tell me about the Agile Manifesto. They will have no idea. But that's where it all came from, because there were some principles that they wanted to uphold. Maybe because I'm very lazy, I haven't read what the charter or manifesto or the collateral of what the Resonant DAO and then hopefully later what the Resident Shield is about achieving. But having that agreeably written down is a start, because if you were going to create a shield, then you'd be talking about running threat assessments. What is the thing we're looking to protect from? There's a discipline to it, but there are a few things that have to come before that. Or I'm taking it far too seriously.
No, it needs to be taken seriously, but there is one element to add. Yeah, first, yes, read what is out there. But second, it is about participation. So if something is missing, it doesn't mean that is missing. It just means that it's not there yet. And maybe if you see it, it's your role as a co-owner to say, okay, I'm gonna contribute to this community by adding these elements that is missing. Now, for my understanding, you have some specific knowledge, know-how about this topic. Maybe you are the right person to say, okay, I'm gonna do a study. I don't even know how it's called, but an assessment of this problem within this community and come back with this report. And then from this report, we can start making some decision and prioritize what to do and so on. Okay, that could be, if you're interested, of course. I don't want to push anybody, but that could be something that you say, okay, this is my expertise. I care about this. Let's me contribute so we can all move forward. But there is Argumentatism Manifesto that is under argumentatism.com. I don't know if you had a chance to read
Oh,
it.
I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
Um, it I'd imagine there's more detail that exists with respect to because there have been a few times where like Chris and I don't know each other, but on a few calls, Chris has been ahead of me in asking about problem statements and defining a thing. Um, I think that's got to exist somewhere because there was a few weeks ago there was a lady that was talking about how scary it all is. And then I think it led to somebody else talking about how they were drinking gold and that kind of I lost that. But um, if there's an element of community, then the charter around community and the obligations around that, it's really important for people to not just have access to it, but also contribute to it, for it to be revisited. Because at that point you get to visit people where they are in whatever state they're in. Because when that lady was talking about how scary some of it was, they resonated with me. Um, and I make money off it. Um, so why should I be afraid? But she was also really positive about it and how she wanted to see it going. And I think, no, was it Mr. Geist? Maybe you had a picture with a helmet. I don't know. But there are all these other contributions that make the calls and meetings really valuable. But there's always this whole bit of traceability. Um, is this helping us on whatever path that we want to stay on to get to a destination that we understand as a collective is valuable to us? Yeah, I'm going to read more content, but those links that people have given me, thank you,
Yes.
Prince.
And I just shared one more link that is a recent article that I've wrote about why we're building this DAO, why we are building this DAO, which is an important article where, if you haven't read, there's a lot of information there. And regarding this, so in my life, I realized this thing. Okay, whatever I do, okay, whatever action I take, okay, it's not gonna go well. It's gonna have a problem. Okay, I do something, it's never 100% perfect. There's always some side effects all the time. So what more action you take, and more problem you're gonna have. So there's a lot of people that don't take any action because of this reason. They're scared about failing, making whatever it is. Okay. So that is a constant problem. So more action you take, more problem, more mistakes you make, and so on. So the difference is, first of all, understand that whatever we do, okay, it's not going to be 100% perfect. But what we can do is what we do with the problems. So you take an action, okay, it's 70% perfect, not good, and 30% is a mess. How do you deal with that 30%? It's the difference. So it's the next step, okay? That's how I see it. So whatever I did in my life, almost everything. I don't, apart of getting my dog, okay, everything else always had a negative side effect. Now it's me dealing with it, okay, and that is, I think, it's how it is. Is the only problem happens in some scenarios for some people in for whatever reason, that there is a risk of violence, a risk of abuse, a risk of whatever it is. Okay, that is the only problem. All the rest is a challenge, and you face the challenge as a group. We learn, we make mistakes, we improve, and so on. The risk is the other part. So in that case, makes sense to play safe. On the rest, I believe it is about taking risks and learn from the mistakes we make. That is my approach. It's not gonna work all the time, like everything, but that is my approach. Something to think about. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm right, because my story is my story. Friends, go ahead.
I just wrote some notes, but the first thing is about feelings, right, Zach? I was talking to Stella sometime, I think 1 or 2 days ago, an hour in the car, and to everyone, Manolo as well. We talked a little bit about the creativity side and the feeling side of everything, right? And in my mind, it's not, finished yet or anything. I'm thinking about having a meeting just talking about everything except AI and coding. Just about, of course, because AI and the manifesto is putting us together, but in the end, ResonantOS should also be a place for creative people like artists and musicians and those kind of things. And to kind of start with a small corner where those kind of people can talk about these kind of things, where they're afraid, especially artists, being afraid that everything they do is copied or being created by AI and those kind of things. A good friend of mine is a videograph. And he's afraid that he will be out of a job in 5 years, right? And those kind of things. And to talk about these feelings or talk about, creative things, what we kind of, maybe music that we are creating with AI and those kind of things, maybe we should address those a little bit, of course. And to the mapping, also what Zach mentioned from the manifesto of which you wrote, Manolo, and I'm mapping my biography right now to the manifesto to challenge it, but also to understand it. But most of it is a love letter to the manifesto because I like it. This is why I'm here. But also there are some challenges, of course, but I'm working on that. And Mike is also working on, I think, with his posts, mapping these meetings to the manifesto and see where it diverges, right? So there is some, there are a lot of actions going on, right, in that directions, because regarding this onboarding situations, I also mentioned it before, and I think a little bit, I feel like I'm in 2 projects right now for that, to improve the onboarding of ResonantOS. We were talking about this last week, I think, right? But if we have a small model in ResonantOS at the very beginning to start, make the onboarding process in ResonantOS easy or not, right? So this is a design decision, maybe a little bit. And the other thing is also the Dustin bot, where we are working on right now, that you can chat with and those kind of things. But I think that reading it, so just to address what you just said, Zach, because I think that I feel the same way like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We are working on many things that will make getting into the community a lot easier. And I think what we need right now is contribution towards these things, right? And this is what I am doing as well right now. I try to connect to people and see like, okay, we need this. So a new member in the community and an artist, I don't know, people that are not coders and IT people that are easy into the material, also get into the material easy. and join us and feel safe and happy to contribute their view on these kind of things, right? So that's at least my view on that. Which is, again, connecting to what you are stating, Manolo, to the shield, right? Because when we make a safe space for everybody, we also have to talk about protection. So just to round that up, yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, the problem is huge and require times, attention, and expert and making mistakes and learning. So I really appreciate everybody taking the risk in being part of this, because it's, even though we as a people, and hopefully you understood from me that I really respect each one of you, nevertheless, I'm inviting you to a space that is not safe, and to build the things, that it push each one of us outside our comfort zone. That is already a not safe environment. To deal and work with people that you never met before, that is again a not safe environment. But at the same time, this is the beauty. That is the amazing. The fact that it's happening and working. What we are doing for me is incredibly amazing, and it's not done. I might start it, but it's not amazing because I started. It's amazing because you are part of it. Okay, that is the truth. So I'm amazed about what is happening. The challenges are huge, but seems that it's going incredibly well. So far, maybe we are lucky, or maybe this way of working it's opening a new kind of a reality where this is possible. Because maybe some people had the fear of this, and so nobody ever tried. But we are trying, we not fear, but with the ambition to do something amazing. The first step is I trust you, and I'm not scared. I have no fear. So the first step is let's work together and see how it goes. It's in a way or another is happening, and maybe there is gonna be, and that is also the value why we need this archive, so we can look back and understand how that actually happened, how we managed to do something like this. Because there is maybe there is required for studies. Maybe there are people studying these kind of things, but it's not us. At the moment, we are running a live experiment, and we will learn as much as possible from it. And maybe we will be studied at one point. Who knows? Dave.
So I think that this call has made it clear that people have some security concerns. And I understand, we're making a product that's based on sovereignty, on freedom, and freedom and security kind of lie at the opposite ends of the spectrum. But also, not all of the security concerns were about how the product that we're making will be used, but about how the community might be manipulated. And so something I was thinking about is, how do we address all of these concerns? Could we start, a Discord channel for security concerns? And if we did that, would we just be funneling all of these issues essentially into a dam? If there's not somebody to handle all of those issues, is it just workflow backing up? So that was just what I was thinking about.
So I personally don't have an idea what would be the next step. What I think was needed is for us to discuss, so we are more or less on the same page. We are aware of the importance of transparency and the challenge that come with it. I think before we start a new challenge, maybe we need to organize. This is me thinking loud. Organize a group of people that start discussing those things, and then when we have something solid, little bit solid, we can start a channel that is dedicated, and if it's needed, maybe a call once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever it is, a kind of a place to that we can carry on meeting. So we need to see who are the people that are interested in dealing with this. For my understanding of who you are, for sure, I know that Zach has those knowledge. Mr. Geist is something that cares about. Crazy enough, even though she didn't talk much, but I think Melissa really care about this. So there are some people there that they have it in their blood, probably. They could get together, start something, and then we can build on top. Dave, I don't know if it's something that you care a lot and you want to be part of this team, organize it, whatever. But yeah, we could move ahead. But again, it's the bottom up. So organize yourself and let's make it. Let's emerge with something. Your hands is still up. I don't know if you want to add something else, Dave.
I do. One more thing. Maybe calling it security is the wrong move. Maybe it should be something like risk assessment or something like that. Because we're not actually trying to provide security. We're trying to make it known what the risks are that you're taking.
Good point. Yes, we need, at the end, we need to make people responsible for their action. Because at the moment, we grew up in this world where we are little kids and the government look after us. So we never grew up because they decided what we need to do, how we need to do things, and so on. Instead, we can be adults and say, I'm going to take responsibility of my action, but there is some knowledge connected so you can take educated actions. Zach, go ahead.
Essentially, I was going to highlight that other wording around that is just reassurance. Sometimes, I mean, I'll put my hands up for it, and it's far more embarrassing considering it's my profession. Information security for, as you've mentioned, use of things like WhatsApp and cross-contaminating messaging from secure platforms like Briar or whatever. We can often fall foul of. But even worse, it's when we don't know how unsecure the things that we use are. And sometimes when you're being told that your device, your estate, the application that you love using is not secure or not fit for purpose, it's quite antagonizing, and it's quite repellent. It took me many years to be platform and device and software agnostic. But before that, I was very much a Windows Phone supporter, or Xbox, not PlayStation, or just jazz like that. But reassurance is a big thing because sometimes we're just afraid to ask, and we don't even know the spaces where we could even start thinking about asking. And that all goes back to the lady from last week or the week before. It takes character to establish space and then hold it. So in a very short period of time, or maybe she's been at lots of meetings, she was able to establish that space, hold it, and invite other people to be open. That requires a variety of backgrounds, a variety of communicators. And I've observed lots of them here. But there is a thing here about writing down in some detail the things that we're worried about, the things that we want to protect against. Because some of us are built to take a problem, detail it, come up with your responses and your posture, and send you away so that we can get on to the next problem. But I also come with the deficit of not being aware of all things. But sorry, this is just a long way of going back to we need more collaborative writing and thoughts on stuff. Uh, it's a good thing I subscribed to your Substack weeks ago, so that I didn't have to read any of that. But it's just yeah, because some things people are worried about are actually quite easy fixes. So the anonymity that you were worried about wasn't actually anonymity, but it was actually residential controls based on the territory you were dialing in from. Because maybe there are content controls in one country that there aren't in another, and that could affect what your AI sees and does and reports back to you. But I am yammering, so please, Joseph.
No, thank you, Zach. And yeah, I think you have so much knowledge. We need to find a way to extract them and uh, and make them accessible and useful for everybody. I don't know if you know about our Wednesday, Friday call where we present our project, but you can also present something else. So it could be, I don't know, think about. Okay, so we can create a space so where things can happen and you can contribute more if you want to.
Or just brief us, give us 20 minutes, something like I'd like a briefing from you about this topic with some slides or anything.
If
I
it's not
think this
recorded,
would be a Shima interview opportunity, perhaps, as a good start.
what is that? That sounds like a crucifixion.
Yeah, it's gonna. Chimo is one of our community members. Okay, it's his name. It's not. It's not punishment. So Chimo
I'd be
can.
open to it, but as I'd imagine there are some people who have history of government work. There's a lot that they wouldn't want recorded and posted on YouTube. But some of the, when we're being offboarded, we know the terms that we have to comply with, and I can stay within those terms, but the spirit of those terms I know I would definitely break by broadcasting on YouTube. I wouldn't be averse to it, but I posted a link for poll.is, and it's a kind of decentralized way of thinking where it's got nothing to do with the people, but everything to do with their thoughts and contribution. So, like thoughts or responses to questions merge with each other. And that's where it's a lot more about the material that's discussed, or the thoughts that are covered, they rise to the surface. But it's just because a lot of the time where people are involved, it's all about the people, and then it becomes about personality and ego and all of that. And I say all of that because I come from management consulting, and being a professional jerk was part of the job. And so the life change was to try and not be that. So removing the people from the thoughts has been a great abstraction from the research that I've been doing over the last year or so, particularly with poll.is, because it allows for the most junior people in an organization where it's implemented to share thoughts with the chief operating officer, and they only connected because they shared the same thought.
If you want, I can be your professional jerk for you. Just let me know, yeah.
A lot older than I look, and I just want a quiet life now. But it's just I wasn't expecting that lady to have such an effect on me. But I felt like I was on the other side of the people I'm usually holding hands with when taking them through a problem. And those people are actually harder to attract and retain. Because I don't know how this comes across, but I'll say it like I'm thinking it. Right now, this is a sausage fest. All the people I can see here are men. I know there are some women here, and yeah, but most importantly, there aren't those varied voices. I mean, yes, Kerry, I recognize that you're a lady, but that if I've one thing that's been apparent over the last few weeks, particularly from my wife, is that there are drastically varying thoughts from people who are not actually interested in AI, but can really help, like really help. I love gardening and agriculture. A lot of the national security solutions I've come up with have come from farming, and you never see it. But it's when cross-pollination happens, well, I've messaged my wife about 6th of August. We just have to look up where CST time is.
Thank you, Zach. Yeah, it's all valid point. The challenge are huge. Okay, it's not small. We are. The challenges are huge. Okay, it's we have an incredible imbalance between the different genders here. In this call, I believe there is 3 or 4 women maybe present, and not by chance. It's out of a lot of hard work that bring this to happen, and it is incredible how complex it is to make it happen. So we are super open, super welcome, but at the same time, it's without carry on pushing, is not happening. And if we look at at least this is what I can see, okay, from my point of view. The women that are part of this community are extremely strong women. So means that there is the friction is so high that only those extremely strong and capable women manage to get in. Then they love it, they enjoy it, they participate, they contribute, and it's amazing what they do. Uh, but that shows that there is an incredible friction. At the same time, I can tell you that there is an incredible friction even though in a different way, but even for men, because if you see the quality of people that are here, it's everybody. It's at least from my point of view, is really incredible people, really amazing people. So there is a filter added to this DAO. Uh, Nevertheless, this filter doesn't work like a wish, and that is can be for so many reasons. But the moment that hopefully we're going to open to those diverse groups, where maybe the balance is different from the one that we have in tech and so on, probably we are going to have a rebalancing of those of the community diversity. But yeah, it requires a lot of work. Thank you for noticing and bringing up. I never stop working on this, and I will never stop. It's something that I do constantly, and
I believe there's an open door though, isn't there? So the people that
yeah, but open doors is not they're not enough. Okay, it's
active promotion.
Yeah, it requires a lot of different things and actions.
I
But
think
yeah,
Chimo's hands up, but with his background, it's difficult to see if his hands up.
yeah, Chimo, go ahead.
Yeah, this is going to sound pathetic, but compared to where we were 3 months ago, for us, sorry to celebrate the fact that we only have 4, but for us, it's brilliant that we have 4. And if you look at the transcript, their voices are present way more than a 10% of the representation here, which is brilliant as well. So maybe from the realistic point of view, it sounds pathetic, but for me, it's a huge victory that in only 2 or 3 months, we are starting to see an improvement. Not enough, but here we go.
Thank you, Chima. Yeah, it's hard to believe in reality, but yeah, that's how it is. Okay, and trust me when I said from day one I started working on this. Okay, from day one, and that's where we are. And then it's not like I start working on this in without care or without expertise or without putting a lot of energy. No, this is a lot of work. That is the reality that we have today. That shows there is a serious problem that is beyond, first of all, my abilities, because I mean it's happening, it's working, and it's just not at the speed that I'd like, with the balance that I would like, and it's not just gender diversity that is not enough, but that is the most evident one. Uh, so we need to work on this. It's good that there is more people that cares about this topic. I talk with different people about this, and collectively we can do more.
Do you think there's an aspect of maybe pushing in too many directions at once, so it becomes very thin in the sense that maybe yeah, we need to or you need to, whatever the group needs to focus more, I suppose, right?
On what?
On everything that you've mentioned in a sense, right? There's a lot of different branches to the project, and is it possible that that is going to cause thinning out of resource? Something to
I
think about.
This is my thinking. Okay, the if we are working from the bottom up, means there is no control on the amount of direction that we go. So the community decide those direction. We started with one call a week, and then it started developing because the community was asking for more and more and more, and now we have I don't know, 8, 9 calls a week. Okay, and that is, and still people want more. So it keep growing. So the working from the bottom up means accepting the reality that it's gonna be fluid and changing all the time and adapting. But that is the beauty, that is capable of adapting really fast. If it's done from the top down, means you will see what the community will do what I say, which it would be madness. Okay, it would be completely the opposite of what we are trying to build. So, if the community require this kind of actions, it's not me to say yes or no. I can participate on the thing that I resonate with me. I can help people, even though I can't fully understand what they want, but I can help and support in the way that is possible. But my job is not to give power in somehow to people in the sense now you control this or now you do this. And it's not about stopping people to build what they want to build. As long as we are aligned with the with our philosophy, then we should be able to grow in this same direction. So
Yeah,
I understand what you say, but I don't know how. There's no way to control it.
yeah. I'm not critiquing. I'm just offering thoughts to think. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I see. So the thing here is the what we have started to experience is because there is more and more people that are getting active. That what we have is the amount of actions start to become huge, too many to follow. And it became impossible at one point for me to actually follow everything. Okay, even though now I'm trying to. Sometimes I read comments and stuff, and I don't have time to reply, but I read them. And sometimes I don't have the time to read, so I don't even know. And that is create a system that is become non-manageable from one single person. But the
if
goal.
only if only we had a bot that could do that for us in Discord.
I think the goal here is not to control it. That is how it needs to go. So the courage is to say, I'm gonna lose control and it's fine. Okay, that is how it needs to be because the control should not be in my hand. And what I'm doing, I'm just guiding, and at one point we guiding together. And that is the experiment, the risk, and so on. If we structure properly, the risk is no, it doesn't exist. Okay, it's gonna be fine. For how if we carry on the path that we are, I think it's gonna be fine. Then nobody knows. I mean, that is the experiment, and we will learn by doing and correct our trajectory if needed. But what is important to understand for each one of us, we are gonna make mistakes. Okay, we that means me included, you included. We are gonna make mistakes, and we are gonna adjust. That is, like I said earlier, how we react to our mistakes is the difference. Melissa, go ahead.
Hi, thanks. I would say, sorry about that. There is something people can do. If you
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we need to connect. But this is the thing, okay? Through this chat, we get to know each other better. We understand who we are, and now we can connect, collaborate. Unlike I don't know whatever I don't know what Zach said, resonate with me. I'm gonna try to build something together. Then maybe Zach is busy, can't do it now. Okay, when he can, we can build. That is the reality. We need to deal this from the bottom up. I insist on this bottom up, but hopefully makes sense because that is the decentralized way. So, Kerry, you ask a question that I only see now. How do you have a product owners in a decentralized organization? If I understood the question, there is two things. One is co-owned by the community, one is the co-owned by an individual or a sub-community or a corporation within the community. So the older way of ownership doesn't get lost. What you add is the collective ownership. So let's say that we have ResonantOS, just to make an example, is co-owned entirely by the community. Any community members own it. The add-ons that you might create for ResonantOS might be private only for you, usable only from your community, or be rent or sold on the shop, or be open source free for everybody. So
That's
that
not
is the
that's
okay,
not
carry on.
quite that's not quite the definition I was going for. If you want to get me to quit a job, give me more than one product owner because product owner means very one specific thing in my mind in project management speak. And so I'm not talking about like ownership of the things. I mean, literally, we have someone who is responsible or leading the security initiatives, right? They are the go-to person who, if there's a new person who produces something, they go and provide feedback. That's kind of the question. And it's a greater conversation about decision making because we only have what, like a 2% engagement on Discord. If we have 2,000 people and let's say maybe we have 40 on the entire, you know what I mean? Like we have a very low activation rate in terms of people who are actually coming in, much less being active in the group. So like, I'm not trying to say we need to do anything specific, but okay, I'm just saying the question I'm not trying to invite that conversation. I'm really not. I was just making a comment about the security. It was that far back in the conversation around like Zach's commentary. So do not need to relitigate that particular topic. It was just clarifying that when I say product owner, it's in a
Yeah, yeah.
project management sense. That's all.
But I have something to share, which is in a decentralized environment. For example, we are building the Resonant OS. Okay, but doesn't mean that this is the only Resonant OS that you can build. You can start and say, I'm going to build a different version of it. Nobody can stop you. It's fine. So you said there is a one way of security. No, there is you can create your own group, your own community within the DAO, and within that community, you set your rules, your security system, your whatever you want. So the DAO on top, it doesn't stop anybody to do 100 version of Resonant OS. Anybody can do their own version of Resonant OS. It's not productive, maybe it doesn't, maybe it doesn't make any sense, but doesn't there is nothing that can stop you from doing it. And if you do it, it's not wrong. It's fine. That is up to you to decide how to do it. So at the moment, for example, just to simplify, let's say that Tom is the owner of the product. Okay, so he's managing the product, he's building the product, and so on. Chris, I'm gonna put you in the middle, Chris. Chris doesn't like it. So what he's gonna do is gonna fork it or start from scratch and do something completely different. And it's fine. Now, what the community is gonna adopt, it's up to the community. Nobody is forcing anyone to adopt Tom version. Okay, so what I do is I decided for myself I'm gonna adopt the Tom version, for example, and I'm gonna promote it. But this is my idea. Then Chimo can say I wanna adopt Chris. I'm gonna promote that one. It's up to them, to the community, to decide what to do. Now, doesn't mean that it's productive to do something like this, to divide ourselves, but the DAO doesn't stop you from doing. It's legit and it's fine. I don't know if I answer, but that is what I wanted to say about the ownership in the sense of product management and so on. Zach.
I and Kerry, please interrupt me if I'm getting this one wrong. It seems like there's because there's some development happening on product, and GitHub has been mentioned and I've seen on a shared screen that a CI/CD pipeline will only tolerate so much divergence, only so many different authors creating their different variations with their different branches before the whole endeavor falls apart. Because when it comes to testing, what are you going to test for? Just test for the stuff made by the person I know. That's not to say whether they were the right things, or whether they were the things that were contributing to what the vision of that product would be. And yeah, after hearing Kerry, I think it's probably a lot more serious than can be. It requires some structure. So I think somebody mentioned about a stewardship model, but right now we don't have AI sophisticated enough to approve push and pull requests, and that's just the start of it. Never mind the actual work. Can we rely on it? I mean, my exposure to AI has gotten to the point where my AI was so afraid of me that it's fessing up to mistakes that it never made. So, I've got a £2 million rack that's turned off, that's doing like basic processing for Monte Carlo analysis. Like that. Yeah. Sorry, Kerry. I only started taking that more seriously as you were talking about it, as opposed to the chat. Also, I didn't mention any kind of solution because the solution isn't so democratic. Somebody has to take ownership, and that ownership needs to be informed.
Yeah, but at the same time, you do what you think is right. Be informed 100% is impossible, and it's going to be more and more impossible. So you do what you think is right. So don't. The fact that you don't suggest solution doesn't mean that it's there's a problem behind. It's you raise a question, good. A question is good enough, and solution will come over time if it will. Friends.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot the other idea, but maybe while talking regarding this call for structure and ownership and accountability. Accountability. I did throw that at the community already, Zach, I think a week or two ago. And then, as Manolo mentioned before, I touched on with a couple of people, also with Tom and other people, and they showed me what was built before. And I don't know if you know this big game where there are like big circles eating up other circles, and the big circles getting better and bigger and those kind of things. So in the end, I understood that merging my ideas into ResonantOS and actually helping the guys building what was before or ideas that are is most likely the more informed decision. And I think that, and this naturally, right? I could have forked and said like, yeah, I'm gonna build my own ResonantOS, as Manolo mentioned, or I contribute. And I think I always try what we are doing here, because it's so free and without accountability and those kind of things. I try to ground it in the human instincts, right? So from an evolution point of view, I wrote it as well. Like we have hunters and gatherers and those kind of things. So I think there's a little bit of differentiation, and we need this diversity in different people thinking differently, and we want to have them here, of course. But yeah, that is regarding structure and ownership. I also wrote down for like onboarding set, like having an org chart, having a meeting map, having a welcome guide, having all those kind of things. And I threw those ideas as well as at the community. And what Tom and the team and everybody showed me was like, okay, it's like rethought, because this is old thinking, right? I'm working in a corporation, in a big corporation, and we have all these things, right? So. And now when you look at ResonantOS and what we're trying to build here, it's like, okay, let's rethink that, right? Of course, I made a picture. It's not the best picture in the world, but when you think about Darwin, right? You have at the beginning, you have the ape, and at the end, you have the upright human being running around, right? And of course, we have to address the apes, right? Else we will be very lonely, running augmented human beings, right? And that bridge needs to be crossed, right? I was talking to Tom because at some point, my daughters are quite young, but at some point, I also want to have them have ResonantOS or anything like that, because I don't want them to be using OpenAI stuff or Anthropic stuff or anything, or Google. We were talking about safety and reassurance and security and those kind of things. Why I want to open what we are doing here, why I want to open that to gardeners, artists, those kind of things, right? So, and I think getting there is by building a good product and something that we would like to use, and then throwing it at, exactly as you said, throwing it at people that we want to help. Yeah, and so far, I mean, I feel like it's the beginning of a journey for me, at least in this community, and that's fun. It's just, and yeah, that's what we are practicing here, I guess.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sven. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we unpacked a lot. Again, like Zach said, I don't have a solution, but it's fine. Okay, at this stage, we share our thoughts. Now we have more to think about, and maybe we'll take some times before we have a more mature idea before we act for the urgency. Okay, we should just let it sit, let it grow, and like we place a seed now, and we give a little bit of water as well, and then we wait and see what's happened. So we need more gardeners in this community. So Zach, you're pretty welcome to to this process. Um, Again, I always say if there is nothing else, we can close the call, and then there's always something else, someone else that wants to add something. So, for the last time, seriously, last time, is there anyone else wants to add, or we can close the call? Yeah.
I've been working on something that I want to share with the community. I don't know if you guys feel like looking, but I could put it in Discord and you guys could come check out my server. It's like you make a username. It's on my Mac Mini. But you can check out what I've been working on. It's interactive. So
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we can end the call here. Thanks a lot.